Hoc primum.
Maybe in the last minute of your life you want to be something more than a goddamn savage!
Sanguinarias entonces. Annunciare mendatio. Ego sum homo indomitus.
Fearless rats, insanity. He watches the game fantasy. Radio 1, spoken in sight. He searches under of the shadows and
You like this? Oh. You like being food for the immortal?
What is happening, my savage friends? This is the voice of Immortal COIL, one of God's own prototypes, a high-powered mutant of some kind never even considered for mass production. Too weird to live, too rare to die. It is Saturday, March the 30th, 11 p.m. West Coast, Seattle, and it is time, my friends, to get savage. This video contains copywritten content, however, under the Fair Use Act, Section 504c2, Title 17 of the United States Code. This content is presented for the purposes of education and entertainment through the use of parody, satire, critique, analysis, and/or social commentary by means of subjective opinion. Viewer discretion is advised. We have just under 1,000 hours to get monetized, so hit the bell, share out the link, drop me a comment, let me know how we're doing. Right out the gate, I see we have RR joining us, our faithful soldier. He's here every week. We also have a new friend, Deborah Cohen, with some interesting stuff. We'll get to the chat. I just wanted to say hail to the initial ones out here. And whether you're listening to us live or on the replay, we offer up the savage salute. Here's to us. What is like us? Not a goddamn thing. Joining me is my esteemed co-host. He who wears many names and maybe as many facial hairstyles. Famous for his technique, notorious for his method. You may not know him, but your mama does. Distinct in residence and distinct in the pants. He just may be your daddy. Author, Stephen Walton.
Hail the chat. Hail.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I missed the intro. I'm so sorry.
That's all good, man.
I love that intro.
Reading the legal niceties, but you can always watch it on the replay and help me get up my watch hours. I have about 1,000 to go. And
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, dude. I'm really looking forward to it because hopefully it can herald a career path change, you know.
Shit.
Yeah. And I have to say your stream earlier today was just fucking fire. We actually have a couple people who said that they were going to show up to this one just off of the strength of your recommendation, which I really enjoyed it. I was there in the chat and kind of modding with a couple of other guys, but it's really important to help build people up, especially after they've felt torn down, and that's what you're doing, man. And clearly just about 10,000 people agree with you. So
yeah, it's a beautiful thing, dude. Except for Culture Casino. I was over on Sporking's channel tonight.
How did
And-
that go?
Jesus Christ! I saw Culture for the first time in forever, and he
Yeah.
looks. He's a Wookiee. He looks like a paintbrush. I don't know what happened to his face.
Oh, wow.
You should see it. Oh, you should see it, dude. He does not manscape. I don't care what he says. I don't care. I don't care what it's you know what? When he sweats, his bush looks like a wet mop. I guarantee it. I got to see Mark with a C over there. Mark's doing good. You know what's really cool is that I've been so separated from the whole Fandom Menace thing.
Yeah.
I'm not hating on anything, by the way. But like Yellow Flash's name came up because Mark was going there, and rightfully so. Mark with a C should be bigger than Flash. You know what I mean?
He should be at least as big as Nerdrotic, in my opinion.
Yeah, dude. Right. Mark
Yeah.
is one of the best. And he was like, I'm heading over there and doing that. Everybody in the chat's like, oh, yeah, you know what I mean? And I get it. It reminded me of the old Phantom Menace days. But I'm just like, yeah, I don't give a shit. You know, like me personally, I was like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
I reached
I
that
can
point
do
with
anything on my own.
Yeah, I reached that point with my channel about a year ago. Because basically I was just another, Geeks and Gamers clone or whatever. And I started seeing that there was a ceiling to how far you could progress in that milieu unless you knew somebody.
You had
You
to
know.
acquiesce. Oh, you absolutely had to acquiesce. And
You
the
did,
problem
and-
was all the gatekeepers were selfish, egotistical, narcissistic. You know what I mean? And even and I'm not even saying all the people that could help you were gatekeepers. They weren't. Like Gary's not a gatekeeping type person. Nerd Rock,
No,
not.
and I don't believe world class is either.
No, I don't think so. But everyone is influenced somehow. I don't think Gary so much. World class, I think. You're influenced somehow by the megalomaniacs. And
Yeah.
so it's hard to progress because the narcissists, the egomaniacs, they want you to kiss their ass. You know, and if you don't, then they'll set they make it to, and this is the thing, this is why I fucking built Dragonstorm, dude. Can't stand narcs.
Mhm.
They will make it so that it's so uncomfortable for anyone to stream with you because they'll send their flying monkeys and their henchmen, their smears at you. They make it so uncomfortable that only certain people will give you the time of day, which is why I respect people like you, Sporking, you know what I mean, ETET, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like you guys never backed down. You never backed away from me. And when I was going through that.
Well, there's no reason to. When people are in that state, it's best just to kind of speak your piece and step back and see what happens. Because it's either you were gonna submit to that for the rest of your life, or you'd wake up and see what everybody else who cared about you saw. But I also
Yeah.
believe in personal redemption and second chances if somebody shows that they have made some progress in that avenue, because we've all been through that dark soul of the night and likely will so again. But
Dig
it's your friends who really pick you up and
And keep you going.
yeah, and then forging new opportunities as well. The other thing that I had a hard time with in the Fandom Menace domain was as soon as a piece of news came out, there was instantly 10 channels on it, and they had their
Oh, yeah.
videos together and good to go before I could even open up Power Director or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, jump around. You know who's good for that? RK Outpost was great for that.
Yeah, and see, I respect him as well. Some of the people that he's hung around, maybe not as much, but I can sense his sincerity. And I know Star Wars Theory isn't really part of the Fandom Menace, but seeing them stream together showed me that they at least had enough commonality to, do some back and forth.
Yeah, I hope he banged Anna. God, I hope that one of us. I hope one of us banged Anna. She definitely puts off that bitchy vibe, But I think that, so somebody tell me you pulled her hair, stuck one in her butthole. You know what I mean? Please tell me that happens.
I'm sure that would have made Angus happy. But the
absolutely, hail Angus.
The other thing was in recognizing all that, really asking myself, what am I good at? What can I do that nobody else can? And it's this like spiritual, metaphysical, through the veil kind of stuff. And I was talking on your stream in the chat about how this program that that you guys should all like thumbs up and share out is kind of like Art Bell meets like Yoda, and you have that philosophical side, and then you have that side that's just like it's almost incredible to listen to it. But if I hadn't lived a life that I had, and you haven't lived a life that you had, this program would be impossible. And
It
I have
would.
that, yeah, I have this real sense that, and this is actually going to lead into the first topic. I have this real sense that with, us basically dominating the weekend, this show and the shows on your channel and hopefully sports, will all just blow up, and we can,
Oh, it will.
move to, Maui or whatever. And
I don't know what happened. Sporking tonight was like, Steve, I want to say thank you for your shout outs. I was like, what's up? He goes, I got like 99 subs from you.
yeah,
And I'm
dude.
like, I was guilty, bro. I was like, shit. Did Coil get subs? Hoping Coil got subs. Cause yeah.
I've seen a steady increase in the sub count. I actually haven't checked it lately, because I've been like minding my watch hours.
Well, this is why, like, I kind of felt good and bad. You know what I mean? Like when he said that, because on the one hand, he didn't get the pushes that he should have gotten because he refused to leave my side.
Right.
You know? And on the other hand, he says to me, yeah, he was like, I was looking at my YouTube statistics and it said up 900% or something.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, bro, from just 99 subs.
Yeah. Well, and I'm still having like hit and miss success with the shorts. I had one that had
Oh, that's
like
gonna happen.
200 views, and then I have some that have like 2K views, and I can't really tell the difference because it's essentially the same kind of wisdom. Now, if you guys don't watch the shorts, that's just me spitting out like one-liners, just like random philosophical facts
Listen,
and life truths.
Listen, one of my biggest successful shorts was something as simple as like all women cheat. It wasn't that. It was something so freaking simple, just dumb simple. So put it in a short and just be like, yo, real talk, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Just put some stuff like, I swear to God, it will blow up. I don't understand it. That video about the narcs calling the cops for me got over. It's like 43,000 views right now. It's the
Yeah.
most popular video I've ever had, and
Well, I think people can relate to that situation.
It was right after I got served that whole situation with fucking, with BPD and NPD, and I was just like, you know. And then the video after that got like less than 1,000. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand the algorithm. But listen, Pickles, all right, LDG, he's got the secrets. He's got the tip. He's got 5 videos and almost 50,000 subs right now.
Shit, we should go on his stream.
I said, no, I don't want to. I'm being defiant. Fucking DJ Odyssey took his monetization off because he was so upset. He was so upset about it. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But I'm not trying to tell the Pink Bunny what to do. It's just it all. Well, I think he used some kind of advertisement you can use for YouTube through YouTube, which also goes to show, like those of us who were complaining about shadow banning for the longest time, there is definitely an algorithm switch that YouTube has that suppresses channels if you have to pay in order for them to let you just be openly, available to the public.
Yeah, well, they just all want us to be like Mr. Beast clones or, PewDiePie clones. And especially like
dog.
No, and that's what I was going to say. If you're listening to a show like this and you're in this corner of the internet, it's because you've had an atypical life, and we're not going to sit around in a huge house and play with toys for, likes and subs and all that kind of stuff. It just
I'm not doing that.
Ingenuine to the spirit and dishonoring to our experiences. We've been through too much as individuals, and then as mystical beings or whatever you want to call us. we have the ability to
Luminescent.
galvanize, yeah, and to help heal the condition of the planet. I mean, because
Yeah.
the planet was a shitty place for a long time, and we're the only ones that can change that. So just having this like dour outlook on life and society. So I want to
Yeah.
go ahead and get into the first topic of the evening, and um, it's actually the topic is first times, and there's a lot of different kinds of connotations to that question. So we're going to kind of move along the chakras, I suppose, to from the base to the crown, and just kind of speak about our first time. So
Oh man.
um,
That's a shame you said from base to crown, because I was like, can I start off with my base? I remember the first time I masturbated.
yeah.
I don't know why that's a memory. I don't know why that's so special to me. The first time I touched it, went, oh wow, I have no idea. But
Well, it's a as a male and as a Taurian male, those things just kind of go hand in hand.
I
And
literally, yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, the power's in your hands. But the typical image of a Taurus is somebody with a earthy feel about them. They're kind of like stout, and we like food and we like sex and we like to be surrounded by beautiful things. And
Yeah.
more often than not, we're kind of artistic, but it could also get out
Yeah.
of hand and
I mean,
turn
if
into
you're a
like,
narcissistic, selfish Taurus,
yes,
you get served whatever you want.
the lesser evolved
Uh,
Taurians versus the
uh.
more highly evolved Taurians.
Yeah, and I
Um,
don't understand it.
well, since we're talking about the base chakra, I want to talk about the first time I was with a woman and the first time I was with an extraterrestrial, because
Man, bang it.
yeah, well, it was really interesting because I was 13 the first time I was uh, tapped for breeding stock, and
Hmm.
it's not the grays. I don't fuck with the grays. I wouldn't stick it in a gray ever.
Oh
And
my God.
grays typically don't produce like females for you to mate with. They will have like a human female, or they will have like a suction device that they attach because they're just too technologically oriented, and copulation and love and closeness and all that kind of stuff are
Hold
foreign
on. They have
concepts to them.
well,
Go
they have
ahead.
cosmic cock. They have cosmic cock pumps.
Basically, yeah, but
Okay.
it's like hooked to a machine, and then they feed your mind imagery, so they'll read your brain and like make you think you're seeing whatever kind of beautiful female, you know. And I have had encounters with them, but I refuse to cooperate with them. I just that, and the words of other contactees. There's a guy named Jim Sparks. If you're into reading abduction literature, he goes into great detail in his books, and he is a, credible source because he says things that only contactees would know.
Oh
That's all I
shit.
can really say about that. Yeah. Um, so the first time I was with an ET, I was 13, and it's really interesting, Stephen, and I'm going to get a little bit personal here. Um, the first time I ejaculated, I was like 12, and I had been uh, handling myself for a number of years before that. And I remember the first time it happened, I was like shocked and surprised because, there's this wet ending that you're just not expecting. And roughly about a year and a half later is when I was first, like I said, tapped to be a stud. It was an aquatic race, and the female had like white skin. Um, she had she did have some dark eyes, but here's what's interesting is that they existed underwater and they had to create a medium for me to breathe in. So I was kind of like placed in this gel, and they told me just to inhale. And I was like, I'm scared that I'm going to drown. And they said, you won't drown. And you got to remember, like at 13, um, even though I was like smart and all that stuff, I'm still essentially a child. So, you know, you're coming at it from a child's mind kind of standpoint. Um, So everything was okay. I was able to breathe, and then I was able to interact with their environment, which, like I said, they exist in like an aquatic, you know, uh, environment. Um, so I was placed with the female, and we had like a little bit of small talk. But then I told her that I thought she was pretty, and I asked if they kissed, and they didn't really kiss. They also don't really do like oral sex and things like that. They just kind of like do it. Um, so yeah, we did our thing, and I was cleaned off and returned, and um, I I didn't really think about this until this year because that's the first sexual encounter that I had with another person, and it was with an ET. So basically, I'm saying I lost my virginity to ETs. Um,
Yeah, I lost my virginity to a BPD. Does that count? That's pretty fucking alien. They're
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Well, and that's why you really have to. And I've heard you talk about this in the past couple weeks. Just really reserve yourself for the right people. I'm not saying like don't have fun and don't like play with sexuality, but realize, especially if you're a dude, what you're dipping your wick in. And
Absolutely, man.
and I'll tell you this, like energetically, your cock's like an antenna. It can
Uh-huh.
transmit, but it can also receive. And if you're fucking crazy women, then you have crazy chi coming at you.
No doubt, dude. I tell you what, that crazy cheat tastes good. Um, and that's the issue. It's the roller coaster ride of it. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. And not only that, like, yeah, we've talked about this before. When I started
Mhm.
having sex with the ex, my last ex, how my I changed. You know, my attitude changed, my energy changed because she was banging, how many other guys that were all so different, and that the exchange of those energies made me hyper aggressive, hyper defensive, um, gave me a little bit of paranoia, uh, and it was because of the energy exchange. It's because I was having sex, she was having orgasms, transmitting that power, building that
Uh-huh.
power build that women have with orgasms,
Uh-huh.
and then releasing my collected energy into her. And
Uh-huh.
the energy transference was not just with her, it was with all these other freaking dudes, and including, you know what I
Right.
mean, including a narcissist, which was just made me insane for a while.
Well, yeah. And that's the other thing is that the people that you sleep with, their energy can influence your emotion and the way
Oh
that you
yeah.
interact with other people,
The
and
way
you may
you
not
think, your
even
psychic
realize it.
connection.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
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 Absolutely. Especially if they're metaphysically gifted. Um, so I'll tell this other story, and then I'm curious about yours if you feel like sharing it. My first time with a human woman, I was 15, and uh, she was like I don't want to say high school sweetheart because I had had other girlfriends in high school. She's just like the first one that let me like feel her up and do stuff to her. Um, but it was pretty sweet. We were dating for a couple months, and we decided to do it on Valentine's Day. We were both virgins. Um, and I had seen adult movies, so obviously I knew what to do. But having never done it before, it was just a very interesting experience. And we were together for a total of about 6 months, perhaps, and then I moved in with my mother, who lived in a different state. Um, but overall, it was a positive experience. She wasn't metaphysical at all. She was actually kind of like a rocker chick, like an alternative rocker. Um,
Nice.
yeah, well, living up in Seattle in the '90s, there was a lot of that. Um, we were growing up in the shadow of like a musical revolution, and
Right.
you were either like a
Grunge.
punk or a metalhead or like or like a grunge kid. And I was
Hmm.
somewhere between a metalhead and a grunge kid, long hair, all that kind of shit. Um, but she was pretty. She was also a Taurus, actually. I was older than her by like 2 or 3 weeks. Double D's, and
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff. Like I had
On
it set up
campus.
so that, yeah, I was able to go to her house after school, and then my dad would come and pick me up after his shift, so we were basically unsupervised for a couple of hours every day, and we made some use of that. But
Dig.
yeah, I think she's like married now or something. So, wherever you are, I doubt you're gonna listen to this, but thanks for the good time. Uh, so those are my first times with sex in particular. Care to jump in the arena?
Oh, fucking sure. Jennifer Evans. What's up, Jen? It was my first time. I was 12 years old. She was 16.
Oh shit!
Oh,
You're
yeah,
calling me
bro.
a stud. Look at that.
Taller than me, long red hair. She was the
Oh
girl.
yeah.
She was the girl who opened my mind up to the other world. So when several years earlier, when I was 9, my parents had broken up. My mom absconded with my sister and I to Jersey.
Hmm.
So we're down near Cape May in a trailer
Mhm.
park with my mom, and I met this woman who was a medium, and her brother had the gift. Her grandma really had the gift. It was one of those like
Mhm.
generational skips types,
Oh, gotcha.
and yeah, and so I was I was a kid who could have gone into like a narcissistic personality disorder because of the traumas that I was going through at the time, and I lived in an imaginary world. I'm a writer,
Sure.
like so my science fiction, my
Right.
imagination had taken over. So when
Right.
somebody, so I'm 9 years old being told, yeah, I talk to ghosts, and I'm like, yeah, and I talk to frogs, like
Sure.
I didn't, I was on that track, but empaths go through those types of upbringings, and you go through hard upbringing. So I'm
Yes,
like,
we do.
I didn't really take her seriously until one night we were out investigating. That's what we used to call it, spirit busting. That's what we used to call it, Ghostbuster
Sure.
era.
Yeah.
And we're out there looking, and her spirit guy's name was Joanne.
Okay.
And we're walking through the woods, and I'm talking because obviously I talk a lot.
Sure.
I was talking, and she says, be quiet. Joanne doesn't like it when we're, I forget what word she used or what term she used, but Joanne doesn't like it when we're a lot of talking going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I shut up for a second, and then I kept talking again. And then she was like, shh, Joanne doesn't like that. And I'm like, okay. And then, dude, it was like the fucking air stopped. It was like you know what I mean? It's Jersey. There's a lot of tall trees and shit.
Right.
And all the air, it was like the wind stopped. And Jen was ahead of me. I could see her. And something came up into my right ear and just said, dude, and I ran straight home and hid under my bed, dude. Like
Oh, I get
literally
it.
like that. Right. And then after that, it was like, oh my God, my mind was blown. The ghosts exist. A ghost literally just said something like, she was a shh, but just said something in my ear.
Uh-huh.
Blew my mind open, so that when we went back, I eventually went back to my dad's. That always stuck with me. So I'm visiting my mom,
Yeah.
and there's Jen, and Jen and I are hanging out, and I come from a hypersexual family background due to my dad, being my dad, and there being sexual abuses going on,
Gotcha.
and not by him, but in the family, and
Sure.
so yeah, we were out the beach, we were down the beach, a lot of horseshoe crab type beach, and I started talking about it, and I think I whined and cried. I don't know if I whined or something, but I was talking to her, and she's like, "All right, okay, Steven, okay." And then that night, it was the weirdest damn thing because her brother was sleeping in the same room. He's up on the bed, we're down on the floor, he's passed out, and all I remember is pumping away. Like that's all I remember is pumping away for like an hour. That's all I remember. I don't even think I had an orgasm. But,
So, whose idea was
Yeah.
it? Was it hers or was it yours?
oh, it was mine, totally mine. I was just
Gotcha.
like, I want to get this
Yeah.
out. Yeah, it was like
Gotcha.
80s. My dad was like one of those, my son's getting to that age. He's really a mature type. Dude.
Right.
And yeah, and like when I went home and told Pop, he was like, this is how immature he was. Like your 12-year-old son just came in and
He
said,
handed
I
you
had
a
sex for
beer
the
and
first
a
time.
cigar.
Exactly, bro. 80s family, 80s
Yeah.
family. And I'm just, I don't know, it's not
I
the
could almost see
response.
this in my head, man. This is crazy.
Yeah. But that was my first time, and then but my real first time was 2 years later when I met my oldest mother. That's like my real first time, because that's when uh, it was a real true exchange of feeling and emotion. You know, she would come over. She would come over. She would swim at the local swim club, and she began, like, I gave her a house key. I don't know how I had a copy, but I gave her a house key.
Sure.
And she would leave for swim club and come straight over to my house. And like, it was crazy. Every morning, during the summer, she would wake me up, and she would wake me up to sex. And then we'd have sex for hours. You know, no wonder she got pregnant. Right. And we did that for a couple of years, and then, you know, we had him. And then after that, I had no respect for my sexual health. I really, like, no respect for I was fucking everything for so long, Coil. I was I was a pimp, dude. I was out there just banging everything for the longest time, which, you know, I look back at that period of my life, and I look back at what I went through with the ex, and how she, like, devalued and degraded and emasculated me. And, you know, it's so strange. It is so strange to me, Coil, that I got all my mojo back after I beat this narc's ass. Everything changed. You know, what is that? Seriously though, serious question. Energetically, what is that? What does that mean? That as all the recovering and all the self-work, inner work that I've done, all the shadow work that I've done, all the self-discovery and discipline, and I still had an issue, but it took her literally coming over here uninvited and bringing a narc, and me having to kick this narc's ass for me to be like, I don't give a shit about you. I don't give a shit about you. Like, and actually reclaiming my masculinity, like reclaiming my full power.
Yeah.
What is the savage spirituality of that?
Okay. Well, I got a couple of answers for you. And
Thank you.
first of all, take a look at the structure of, well, you told me
Hail
that you
the
don't.
chat. We got
Hail to
fatties
the
in
chat.
the chat.
We do. Yes, we
We
do.
do.
Hail.
Yeah.
We will definitely get around to the chat. I need to complete some thoughts here before we start getting into that. Now I know you told me you don't see auras, but you can feel energy. And
Absolutely, yeah.
I've sent you some diagrams of what they look like. So the chakra, you have like 7 main chakras and a number of minor chakras that usually happen around joints. But picture them as spinning vortexes of energy, and each one of them, from the universal energy field, kind of digests and synthesizes specific frequencies that relate to the frequency of the chakra. Your main power current runs from the crown to the perineum, and if you guys don't know what that is, that's like your taint, basically, right?
Hold
From
on,
the
my
crown,
taint has a chakra point.
it does.
We're gonna get into that later. All right, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm flicking my chakra right now. Go
ahead. Make sure you wipe your chakra from front to back instead of back to front, especially if you're a female. But from the crown chakra, we synthesize divine energies, and from the root chakra, we synthesize earth energies. And if any of your chakras in between are fucked up or tweaked or out of balance, the energy that it receives is distorted or stalled or stopped. So because you were treating your root chakra so callously for a number of years, you would have just like meaningless relationships. You know, and I'm not saying that you didn't have special people or people that you grew with or people that you loved, but giving it to just anybody, you take on all of those people's karma plus all of the other people's karma that they're fucking with. So it gets you in a state where you're not revering sexual exchange for what it really is. Or if you were, you only did it for a little while. And especially with this last one, you might have thought you were, but you know what she was doing to your energy. By dealing with those two people, you actually resolved karma. So that's why you got that power boost, because you finally acted in a way that was contrary to not only your past, which created the actual what's the word? Probability that
Trump.
you would, run into this person. And she came on the
Mhm.
stage at this point out of pre-agreement. And I'm talking about before you're born, before
Yeah.
she has all her like
Oh,
human bullshit, right?
oh, definitely a soul contract. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was kind of alluding to at the beginning of the show. You could have done that the rest of your life and just let her shit all over you and stalled your progress and probably fade into obscurity. And you might have wrote a neat book once, but you're not really doing that anymore because you're fucking with her and
Right,
you're on her program.
right.
So you reclaimed your power. She's out of the picture, and you got like 10,000 subs out of the deal.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
dude.
keep going with that. I'm gonna keep rolling with that too.
Absolutely. So, that was a quick reading.
No, thank you.
um,
I appreciate that because it was like, should I just kick his ass earlier? Like, I don't know what that was about. And then I kicked her at the house. So
mhm.
I mean, like, all of it was just get the fuck out of my life. And then
Yeah,
today, like you saw the stream earlier, and then today
I did.
happened,
Yeah.
and no contact all day, nothing, no reaching out to me. He did, and I'm like, this narcissist, this guy wants my back hole. He wants to flick my taint or
Yeah.
something. I don't even know what's going on, but
Well,
it's.
that wouldn't surprise me. I know you're just kind of being flippant, but a lot
I'm
of
serious
times
too.
these conflicts are like misdirected affection. And that's one of the stranger truths about spirituality. Anger and negativity is actually just like love expressed in a fucked up way. So you're not giving him what
Yeah,
he wanted. You're not playing the game like he wants you to do it. So he's just continuing to try to take a stick and poke the bear.
yeah, and
And
I totally shouldn't have done anything, bro. But I did send
nah,
him a clip of American Badass going, "You could rock with me or suck my dick." So it's like that's all I said.
don't give him any ideas, brother.
I can't help it. I'm Walton. I'm an asshole. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel good about myself again. Um,
Yeah, but
I-
if you're telling people to cut ties and you're not practicing it yourself, that's kind of a bad look,
oh no,
brother.
absolutely. No, I
Yeah.
know. But it's so hard, bro. When a toad. And I understand what you're saying, and you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. But it's so hard when a toad, when a worm thinks that they're better than you, when points the finger at you and says, "You're a manipulator, you're a liar, you're this." No, bitch, you are. You know, like just fuck off.
Yeah.
Watch my shine, sir. You know, like I'll give a fuck.
Well,
Uh,
that's the thing about like people who lack spiritual progress. They can't sustain themselves on higher vibes. So it's
no,
necessary for them to lower you to their level
right.
to get you to do what they want you to do.
So yes, and so I went through this great channel, guys, called Through the Veil.
That's a great
And
channel. Yeah.
oh yeah, so if you guys don't know, Through the Veil is run by a woman named Nicole. She's a tarot card reader, and she is also a psychic. And they do
We should get her on
paranormal
this show
investigations.
sometime.
Yeah, dude, she does paranormal investigations. One of my favorite women of all time, Beth, Adventures with Beth. She's a model on that channel.
Mm.
God, I love Beth. That is my twin train wreck. And so I was stopping through there and had a reading done. And one of the things that she said at the end of the reading was, "Don't stop your ability to manifest." And when she went on to describe, what she went on to say was, people are around you because of your positivity. People are around you because of your light, because of your, the shine that you put off.
Mhm.
And so when a negative person comes in, when a hater comes in, they want you to go into a lower vibration, but you should remain
Yes.
high, remain in that higher vibration. Not only will it annoy the toxic person that's coming at you, but it's like you never stop shining for everyone else in the room. And those are the important ones, the ones that are actually your friends that are there to receive, communicate,
Oh
and
yeah.
be conductive with that positivity. So that's where I'm at this point. Like what was pulling me down the entire time was my root chakra, and my heart
Mhm.
chakra was damaged. And
Yeah.
now that the whole cycle completing at this point of her birthday coming around, I'm being ghosted. The whole continuation of the attempted continuation of trauma. And by reclaiming that, I reclaim myself, my energies, and my ability to be me, manifest. And so I'm like I feel really good, and I understand what she's saying. I understand what everybody else is saying. I understand the whole thing with negative fuel. Yo, because this dude texted me after hours after the stream went down. He texted me because he hoovers and he watches me through fake accounts and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, you're still talking shit about me, and I don't care because she's not here." And and I'm just like, "Oh my god, dude, you whining bitch." Here's a clip from American Badass. That's all I have to say. You can roll with rock or you can suck my dick. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, it's interesting that the tarot card reader said the same thing I just did.
Yes.
I really feel like I should probably get in contact with her, and she should be a guest on the show at some point. So maybe you can help me out with that.
Yeah, dude. I'll reach out to Nicole. She actually made a picture. She actually put together a twin train wreck shirt, a logo for a shirt for Beth and I. And I'm gonna put that out at some point. But she's a very cool person, very enlightened, definitely a mystic. You know, definitely has the gifts. Oh, and then I found this other chick. Oh my god, just real quick segue. Oh my god, dude, this redhead. No, my god, no, dude. My spiritual dick is so hard for this one. Her name is the Draconic Princess. She's a redhead, or the Draconic Priestess. And as soon as I saw Draconic, I went, oh god, tell me you're intuitive and toxic. I don't know if she's toxic, but she's definitely intuitive. I saw a reading today, and it was everything I'm going through, bro. Everything I'm going through right now was in this reading, and I'm not one for those open reading type psychics. I watch a couple, but I'm always like, all right, it's always a hit or miss. This chick, like literally 30 minutes of my life, she was reading, and said basically the same thing. You've got people who are watching you through fake accounts. They hate your shine. They want to bring you down. There's, a triangulation involved, the whole 9 yards, dude. And I was like, wow.
Well, it's because you have talent. They have no talent. Their talent is being destructive. So when they see you succeed, it fucks with their own sense of ego and sense of self, because they don't define themselves as their place in the universe. They define themselves relative to you. If you're the person that they're targeting. And
that's an energy
anybody
vampire.
Listening to that, it's the same kind of thing. The one of the things I was talking about in your chat on your stream, and you guys should go check that stream out. It's episode 5, isn't it?
Episode 5, 4 is behind a paywall because I went wreck on mushrooms for like 2 hours.
Yeah, no, I get it. But one of the things I was talking about in the stream was that the people targeting you're actually more powerful than they are. And that's the reason why they are trying to sustain themselves off of you, because you can do something they cannot, which is connect with the universe, with the divine. So like I say, they have to shake you down to their level, like using terrifying or, abusive tactics to get you to vibrate in a way that they can feed off of.
Yeah. Hey,
and that's how that works.
We have 8 people watching. Maybe you should hail the chat and go through and say hi.
Sounds good. Yeah, we got 8 people watching. I appreciate you guys showing up. We said hail to RR. We said hail to Deborah Cohen. And let's see here. We got Scott Clark in the house. He says, hello, gentlemen. What's up, Scott?
Scotty.
Scott's a good guy. Let's see. And we got Papa Cotton. I know him as the Wookiee Supremacy. So when I see him, I call him Wook. Hail to Trans Fat. That is the original society that Steven and I ran with, founded by Black Angus Reviews. He took a bunch of us and threw us together in a chat. Initially because I think he thought it was funny, but Black Angus has a real talent for sniffing out talent. And believe it or not, a lot of the a good handful of the people that he discovered became big names in the fandom sphere. Mm-hmm. And then his character was completely sabotaged. And I'll give you this: Black Angus does have a mouth, and he does have some sass, but by and large, he's a good guy. And
dude, Angus does not need him, bro.
No.
Yeah, he's talented. He's smart. He knows what he's talking about. He can also have the ability to look at a situation from different angles and perspectives.
Yeah.
and I really appreciate that. Him and the rookie critic, Hail Trans Fat, also out in the chat. So I thought I saw Rookie. Did I see Rookie? I thought I saw Rookie out there somewhere.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
everybody.
just,
Not everybody watching is sounding off in the chat. So,
yeah.
and I do want to go through and read the questions, but there's a couple more things I'd rather get to first before we get into that. But I do appreciate each and every one of you. We cannot do what we do without you. It's funny because Steve and I will get on the phone and we'll be talking about life and just bullshit, and invariably one of us goes like, man, we should be live right now, because that's just the gravity of the type of conversation that I have with the man. And if we're talking about chakras, we talk about them all. We go through like carnal things, and we talk about very sublime spiritual things. But the type of talk that we have is really, it belongs to everybody. It belongs to the world. And the goal is to wake people up and to say, like, if you're a weirdo, you're not alone. If I stuck my dick in an alien, then we can hang out and be friends.
Immortal Coil is an intergalactic stud. You just accept it. All right. His dick has gone where no man has gone before, and I am jealous. I was married to Gaia, and she was a crazy borderline. And I'll tell you what, I could nowhere have as much fun as Coil's penis has had. I want to say hail real quick to Jillian. Thank you for being here. Hail to the Dragonstorm community showing up today. Appreciate you so very much, man. Thank you, guys.
There we go. Yeah, we appreciate you coming out. Steven has a couple of different kind of gigs he does on YouTube, and this is like, Freaky Sunday or whatever. So I appreciate everybody from the Dragonstorm community who showed up to listen to this. And again, if you would, hit the thumbs up, hit the share, drop a comment. I have about 1,000 watch hours before I'm monetized, so every little
can
bit
we get
helps.
some eggplant emojis in the chat? We're talking about peen today. We're
Some
talking about
saucers.
the aliens and eggplants, and we are talking about the taint chakra. So let's continue.
Yeah. Well, the next thing I wanted to ask you about, and I'll share my story first, is your first psychic impression that you can recall. Mine was very specific, and it happened around the time I was 10 years old. And it was a foreshadowing of my parents' divorce. They actually told us, like, hey, we need to talk to me and my brother. I have a brother as a sibling. Go in the room. We want to talk to you guys. And I remember I got this feeling, and my brother's like, what do you think? I said, they're going to get divorced. And sure as shit, man, they called us back out and let us know. My parents also had like a hypersexual marriage. And at this point, they had invited a third person into the marriage. And we all lived together. And the thing is, my father was in the military, and the person that they were cohabitating with was under his direct command, which is a big, 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 big no-no. If the military ever found out, and that's kind of how they scared us into not talking about it outside of the house. But what ended up happening was my dad was way more attracted to this other woman than he was to his wife. But this other woman was actually way more attracted to my mother, and she was basically a closet lesbian and didn't tell anybody. So
did she have fat or slender fingers?
Slender. She was very shapely, man. She had like a tiny waist and big old hips. She was like of German descent. Nice tits, all that kind of stuff. She'd walk around without a bra sometimes, and when you're like
God bless her. Yeah,
when you're like 10 years old, just kind of like, oh shit, I got to figure out a way to just like hug her and motorboat those fuckers. But anyway, that was like the intuitive hit that I got, and I'll never forget the feeling. It's kind of like tingly, and it raises through your field, but this is like the first time I ever remember feeling it. Now, also to give a little bit of background, my father's extremely wickedly intelligent. he worked on avionics and laser guidance systems for the Air Force. He was in the first Gulf War. People under his command, blah, blah, blah. But he was more like into martial arts and more into like the Zen mind state than he was into spirituality. And I think it was because he was raised by Christian religious people, and he just did not enjoy it. He lived in the South. He lived in Texas and Alabama, so the buckles of the Bible Belt, essentially. Whereas my mother, she was the witchy one. She wasn't like straight up pagan, and she didn't belong to a coven or anything, but she had the talent. She would have like dreams that portended the future. She read tarot cards. She was into that kind of stuff. And really one of the ones responsible for encouraging me to develop my own gifts. When I moved in with her, she actually owned books that she never read that I just devoured. And then I figured out that she didn't own the books for her. Those books were for me. That's what the universe says. But that was my first psychic hit, and I didn't develop like my own gifts until I was a teenager, which would have been like 6 or so years later. But that's the first one I remember having, and it was life changing, both in the vibration and in the sense of the subject matter. So, how about you, Stephen?
Okay.
What was yours?
All right. Well, probably plenty between myself and my mother. My mother's highly intuitive and psychic. But the first, I have always been dream centered. I can dream walk. I can enter minds. I can influence and things like that. So one of the first powers I remember having was being able to control my dreams. I was in school. I fell asleep at my desk. I can't remember. It was like second grade, something like that. Third grade, something like that.
So you were a young boy.
Yeah. Well, I was around a psychic. Like literally, my mom is a psychic. Like, yeah. And when I was, during the innocent years, I could feel and sense things all the time. I could, like when my big wheel got stolen. So this dude came. He was he had a motorbike, like one of the small ones, one of the ones that you used to build in the 80s. And I was on my four-wheeler. It was a Knight Rider big wheel. And he picks me up and says, "Come on, I'll take you for a ride." And it didn't feel right to me. And he was like, "God, just leave it there. It'll be okay. Leave it there. It'll be okay." And so he took me for a ride, took me real far away, took me like down into Morton. I was in Rutledge to Morton, and then turned around and came back and dropped me off. And I was like, "Where's my big wheel?" And he didn't care. And he took off. And I intuitively knew, without understanding that those types of relationship dynamics, that this dude just took me off so someone could steal my big wheel and give it to whoever, his little brother was, and then drop me back off. Like I knew that. But
yeah.
But the very first thing I ever remember was falling asleep in class and then dreaming. And it was very strange. From the first time I ever saw Nightmare on Elm Street, it reminded me of this, because you get those dream sequences. I stood up off the desk, out of the desk, and everyone else was just looking at the teacher talking or whatnot. And I started walking around, and it was like nobody could see me. I was invisible. And so I'm looking around, and then I'm like trying to get somebody's attention. It didn't happen, and then I realized I'm in a dream. And once I realized that I was in a dream, the first thing I thought was, I can do anything I want.
Yeah.
And so I sprouted wings. I sprouted wings out of my back, and I just began to fly. The ceiling tore open. It was like someone tore a sheet of paper. I started sailing up into the air. And then I woke up because class was over. And the bell went off.
Yeah.
That's the very first time. And since then, I have had many different experiences throughout my childhood that had to do with dream walking with like other entities, I guess, in my dreams.
Right.
Talking with them, communicate. Son of Enki, so literally Lodanis comes from those experiences, son of Enki, because I was communicate with a being that I perceived to be Enki, and and other creatures.
He does talk to humans. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Teachers of knowledge, Thoth. It's the imagery, when you are a person who can do what I do, your mind coalesces energies or ideas or beings into imagery that you can digest, that you can understand and translate. Um, and then I learned how to do that over time to the point where, even I shouldn't have done it now that I understand years later what I was doing. But 2 years ago when all this stuff started with BPD and NPD, I would go into NPD's mind as a white wolf and eat his brains out of his skull and just plant things into it.
Yeah.
Like,
So
you're garbage. You're
that's
nothing.
a little dark, dude.
I am dark. I am a creature of light and dark. Look, black dragon, white wolf, bro. I absolutely did black magic. I can curse. I can easily,
Yeah.
and you have to understand the responsibility. Like, one of the things that I was taught by some mages when I was studying with them years ago was, you could be a reckless with your magic, or you can have control. And this is why, and it's something I didn't learn until recently. Something I really truly didn't learn until recently was emotional control. Emotional control governs everything. That is what keeps you grounded. That is what keeps your ability to see. And it's strange to me that in the past I had understood that, but this past situation got me so reckless that I couldn't control it because I was, exchanging energies with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your field was out of whack.
Oh, field was totally out of whack. And now that it's centered again, like, honest to God, like, that's why I say when people when somebody says to me, I'm going to pray for your soul, like when a real religious, bigoted type person, like, I'm going to pray for your soul. I'm like, don't curse me. Don't hex me. I mean, I know I know exactly. Don't even fool yourself. You know what you're doing, because your intention, your direction, those things matter. That's how manifestation works. That's how spellcraft works. That's how psychic invasion basically works. And so you've got to keep control of your shit. Because look, you may not be trying to hex somebody. You might just be upset having a bad day. All right. But in the same way that you are a person, if you are having a bad day and you don't control your fifis and you snap off at somebody and say the wrong thing and you can hurt them emotionally, or you don't control yourself physically and you just break something, the same thing happens with spirit.
Absolutely. Well, there's also that law of return where what you put out, you get back between 3 and 7-fold, depending on what you're doing.
But also depending on if you live in those karmatic energies. People like narcissists live in those karmatic energies. So that it's all low vibrational. It's all illusion. So they're looking for that low vibration back. So actually casting on or doing stuff like that to someone like that is giving them what they want. Like there's no win.
Right.
Fooling. There's no win. The only win is to resonate high.
Absolutely.
Is to shine, because that's what they don't want you to do. It's crazy.
What's interesting, man, is I didn't start doing dream work until I was a little bit older. I want to say between 14 to 17, because number one, I was still developing, but number two, it just wasn't my time. So it's interesting that you were naturally talented. The other thought that I had was we both said that we had very in tune mothers, which says that not only does our X chromosome come from a psychic being, but also our mitochondrial DNA.
Yes, and I would also
every cell of our body. That's okay.
Yeah, and I would also like to point out that my mom was so crazy they couldn't even diagnose her crazy. We're talking manic, bipolar, schizophrenia, all that. You know what I mean? And so she's calm now. Like that's because of the traumas she went through as a kid, and which were extreme. But it took her 20 years, 30 years to figure her head out. But I don't know there's something about crazy, y'all. Maybe that's why I'm attracted to crazy. I don't know, but
definitely, males pattern themselves off of off of their mothers.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
That's another interesting parallel, Stephen. My mother was also basically crazy, and it ended up killing her.
I'm aware.
Yeah, she.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, she was hospitalized a few times, and she had gone to jail a few times because when she would disassociate with reality, she would become transient and she would just move around and do whatever she wanted, thinking
Right.
that God told her it was okay to do so. And
Right.
the last day that she was alive, she went through that because she had lost her mother, my grandmother, who was not aware or awake at all. She was highly religious, but she basically was in care of my mother, who administer her medicine and all that kind of stuff. But my mom
Good
was the
night,
kind of
Loki.
yeah. Oh, you're taking off, buddy. Thanks for showing up, man. Uh, so my mother was the type of person who would take her pills for a little while and start acting normal, and then think she was all better, and then stop taking her pills, and then she'd get
Right.
weird again. And I've talked to her a couple times when she was in that state, and she just did not sound like herself. Like her neurons were all scrambled up and just like touching random things and trying to make sense out of it. So the
Hmm.
last night she was alive, she was on one of those disassociated trips, and she was walking out in the middle of the road at night, and a truck smashed her.
Mm.
Yeah, dude.
I
Um,
remember.
yeah, dude. And losing a parent as an adult is a very strange experience. If anybody in the chat has lost a loved one like that, then you know what I'm talking about. But it's also interesting because I resisted communing with her spirit for a little while after that because I had my own emotions about the choices she had made that led up to her
Hmm.
physical death. Um, Especially in the sense where I feel like the the metaphysical truths and paths that I have come to understand was encouraged by her. You know, I was born with knowledge on the spirit on my soul, and I have the
Hmm.
ability to recognize truth when I see it. So like
Hmm.
I know when to pick up books and like which books to pick up and which parts of the book were true and which parts of the books were bullshit. And I felt like if this is the person that encouraged me to do that, has she been crazy this whole time and I've been fed like a line of shit? So it took some real like soul searching to realize she just made her own choices and that
Hmm.
her path is different than mine. And part of part of what she was a nurturer and a teacher, but she also had her own shit to deal with. And
Right.
in the end of her life, she chose not to deal with it. She chose to do other things. So
Um,
um
when
it
it comes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, so yeah, there's a real correlation, and they've proven this with like art and music that there tends to be a level of mental instability when you're talented through those
Yeah,
means. So
witches
if
are crazy. There's a
yeah,
reason.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, you know, and this world is enough to it operates on an insane level, or at least it used to before we got here. Um,
When you're
Go ahead.
touching those frequencies, first off, okay. So actually, there's a lot of things and a couple questions I wanted to ask you.
Mhm.
One thing, the reason why my kind takes psychedelics is because to detach ourselves, to disassociate ourselves from the 3D and enter the 4D. And that's why witch doctors do it. That's why shamans use it. You know, this is why, people like originally smoked pot. These are the things that take us into another vibrational realm. Because when
Sure.
you're conditioned, when you come out of your age of innocence into the 6 to 9 age, you
Uh-huh.
start to become really programmed as to what the 3D is, and you're
Oh yeah.
limited by the natural consciousnesses that exist around you, the people that have already adults who already live in that 3D. If you have adults who live in the 4D, then or can touch the 4D, then it's a different experience. But
And
the
especially if you're a child of the American education public system.
Christ,
Yeah.
then you're in the 2D.
Oh
Uh,
shit,
you
dude.
know, like but there. So that's why, because and also you will find that eccentric people who have gifts like we have,
Hmm.
they have crazy. They have. But there's a difference between having a lot of crazy and controlling your crazy. I control my crazy.
Right.
Well, I
Same
try to.
here. Same here.
But the life path of our mothers, this is what I've understood about mine, is that of course, we choose before we incarnate what the settings are for our life, depending upon where we want to evolve.
Sure.
Um,
It's like
so
spawning a character in a video game.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's exactly like that. You're entering the matrix.
Yes, sir.
So when what, as far as your mother's life path, like, you said she was a teacher, nurturer, and an educator, with dealing with schizophrenia and dealing with those things. So what has come to your understanding as to like her life path, like with as for her herself, not so much as a mother, but as a woman?
Yeah. Well, if I'm just reading her as a woman, um, she endured physical and sexual abuse as a child. And
So did mine.
then,
Yeah.
yeah. And then she had a very domineering dad. So she met my father as a teenager, and they were both in Germany, actually. He was also in the military, the grandfather. Um, so she sought an escape from her circumstance, but my father was also um, emotionally enamored and then blinded because they were going to be restationed, and he didn't want to lose
Mm-hmm.
her. Um, but here's the thing: is that my mother jumped from that marriage into basically a lesbian relationship with the woman that I mentioned earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and she jumped from relationship to relationship, and she never was like a single person.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't really learn autonomy or good self-care practices.
Wow, dude, our mothers are on the same path almost. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and then we're both Tauruses, which is
And we're both
interesting.
Tauruses, yeah.
Yeah.
I said, but you're banging aliens. I don't have that. I need a little bit of that. No grays. I am a gracist, the little
Nah,
perverted bastard. I don't want to be hit with a Cosby ray gun. All right,
nah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
nah. Their energies, they're gonna die, man. They're not doing well. But the other thing was, from a spiritual perspective, her and I had a soul agreement that she would be the conduit through which I was born. And
Mm-hmm.
here's the other thing, man. I think in a past life, she might have been like my wife or my girlfriend or something, because I've
Mm-hmm.
had some weird dreams about her. And it's not like anything that I sought, and it's not anything that I was interested in doing as as an awake person. But I had some like Oedipal dreams about her all throughout my life. And I wondered
That's
about that.
crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, that's part of what I was talking to you about. Like, I refused to commune with her for a little while, and I meditated on it, and that's what I came up with. Because there's no other like reason to have dreams like that. So I'm just thinking there's a deeper connection there. But like I was saying before, being interested in the genetics, because we choose our parents, we choose
Mm-hmm.
who our vessel is going to be born through, and then even like as a fetus, your spirit's down there like tweaking stuff and like changing brain chemistry around and activating DNA and
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, which is interesting, because when they became parents, they were very unconscious about it. But when I became a parent, I was fully awake and aware and an active participant in my daughter's um, spiritual and physical makeup. I would
Mm-hmm.
commune with my daughter's spirit before she was born, and we would have just long psychic conversations about all kinds of shit.
That's beautiful, dude.
Yeah, dude. So
Wow.
if you guys ever have the opportunity to be a conscious parent, do it. It's very rewarding, and honestly, it's like I was saying in that one chat, dude. We didn't inherit the planet from our ancestors. We're borrowing it from our descendants. And
That is so. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, well, it
Well,
starts with your children, man.
Yeah, all of that just brought me back to, well, two things. You were talking about having dreams about your mother. There's some cool comments in the chat I kind of want to get to in a second, but
Sure.
so I married the only woman I've ever married, who was 19, who was the same number of years older than me than my mom. Okay, mommy issues here.
Yeah.
But Akasha she was
Is that her
she
name?
was, yeah, her name Akasha Ravenwolf.
Yeah.
And so that's where Ravenwolf comes from. So she taught me about
Did she
spirituality,
choose
about
that
the
name, or is that what her parents named her?
No, that's no. Her
That's like
parents
her
didn't name her that.
her coven name. So Akasha, if you
No,
guys
that
don't
was her
know,
legal name.
yeah, the Akashic records, that's like the basic knowledge of everything in the universe. So
Bro, everything from
that's a
my
hip name.
everything from my Egyptian knowledge to like I Wiccaned myself, and when you Wiccan yourself at 21 or 20 at 21, during that ceremony, you ask you ask the Lord and the lady for something, and I asked them for a lover, a teacher, and a friend, and I got all three
Nice.
in one person, and we were together for 5 years, which was also the same time that I first met Ash, by the way. Ashley was listen. No, the crazy thing is Ashley is the only woman I cheated on my wife with.
Oh, Steven.
Yeah, dude, crazy. Listen, crazy karma when I have a gold dragon knife. Like when I first started talking to Ash again several years ago, she had given me a golden dragon knife during that era, during that time. And when I opened it up, dude, not only was the knife in there, but my wedding ring was in there.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, all kinds of karma. That's a whole different thing to unpack.
Like-
but anyway,
The gods are beating you over the head with a board, dude.
yeah, you're about to get your karma for cheating on your wife. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So but anyway, like she had been absolutely, she had been a mother, a sister, a brother, a father. Like we're from the same soul tribe. She only came into my life for that short amount of time to help try and heal the mother wounds in me. And we kind of knew that. And we were together for so many years. We knew it wasn't going to last for the rest of our lives, but the love was there because we come from the same incarnate tribe. But even when she left me, for another dude, which is whatever, I don't hold that. We still would see each other and make love for months after until she knew that I was ready to move on. I met this woman, Julia. I met a girl, Julia, and she was like, "Okay, Steve's okay. I'm gonna leave now." Like, and that was, I know, bro. You know what's crazy? I reached out to Akasha to read Ashley that first year, and I should have known. She knew she's a witch. You know what I mean? Like, she was like, "Is this about Ashley?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "I can't, Steven, but I can recommend someone for you." I said, "I understand what you're saying."
She didn't even want to touch that energy. I totally get that.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, and the second thing. God, what was the second thing I wanted to touch on? Well, that brought me back to Jen, my youngest mom, my youngest mom, and being around her while she was pregnant and recognizing that what you were just talking about and giving it energy and the nurturing energy. And that was actually like in our relationship, the best time. The best time of our relationship was during her pregnancy. And shortly thereafter, when he was developing, it was like both of our energies aligned into being parents. And also this crazy thing, because she was, I'm not going to say she was loose before I met her. She had been with a couple of people before I met her, but we became swingers and shit. So I made her loose, to be honest. Yeah. I got her to be loose, you know what I mean? But she has never been pregnant since, not once since. So it was kind of like this divine. And I know she ain't using rubber. She getting nut up in. You know what I mean? I know this bitch. But it was almost divinely ordained that this was going to happen.
Your boy had to be born, dude.
He had to be born, and he had to have mommy issues that I had to be there for.
Yeah.
Because she ended up, But really cool. I want to actually go back into the chat. Jillian, Papa mentioned that both his parents are Taurus. God bless you, sir. Both of my parents are Tauruses. My dad and my mother, both Tauruses.
My baby's
and my
mother is a Scorpio.
And I have the sex. Was the sex good?
It was amazing, but I'm also a Scorpio moon, so supposedly that means I have the personality of the Scorpio, or like a underlying component of a Scorpio. So,
bro, my ex is a fire element with a water element rising. All right.
Gosh, shit. Bro, yeah, I ought to send you my chart sometime. You probably find it pretty interesting.
I also wanted to mention, Jillian asked, and this is a question I think more for you. I think you'll more articulate this better.
I'm trying to find her in the chat so I can highlight it. But
3:15 or 15 after the hour. But she said, "How would you describe the fourth dimension?" I think she's talking about like 4D. How would you describe the difference between 3D and 4D, Quill?
Okay. I was actually talking to Steven about this 2 weeks ago. So definitely listen to that. But every density has a physicality to it. But as you get higher in the vibrations, um, there's less density to your own body, and even to go from like 3D to 5D, it would wreck our physicality because we're such dense beings. But there's also uh, there's more color to it. The the bandwidth that we exist on is narrower down here than it is up there. So what I was talking to Steven a couple weeks ago about, I had a very vivid lucid dream that I was walking with a woman who seemed familiar, but I had never met her in my, whatever state of consciousness this is. And we were walking down a road at night, and then suddenly, I told her, get ready, and boom, we were in fourth dimension. So all the stuff was pretty much like we saw it, but there was like a shimmery element to the sky and to all the living things like trees and us like as beings. But like denser things like the road didn't have as much um, frequency shift because they're primarily manufactured in 3D. So this girl gets like kind of wigged out, and she's like, "What's going on?" And I said, "It's okay. We've just crossed over into the fourth dimension." And I was scratching my beard whiskers about that. And when I was talking to Steven, we figured out that this was like somebody who is kind of under my spiritual care, because you gotta remember, even though we're awake and we're like, hey, I'm a dude that goes to a job and I'm a father and I'm blah blah blah, our spiritual selves still are at tasks that our physical brain doesn't think about because it doesn't really need to. um so you could be here as a human, but like in the spirit world or whatever you want to call it, you're a guide or you're a teacher. And I I don't really want to put a hierarchy or a ranking system to this, but it's the best way to explain it. Um, when you die, your spirit goes home, and you have elder, wiser beings that you're working with that's helping you evolve as a spirit if you haven't evolved already. But if you are an elder, wiser guide that decides to come and have a human physical experience, that doesn't mean that you stop being that in the spirit world. It actually doesn't take like a spirit's entire energy to drive a human body anyway. But if you're like an elder, wiser guide and you come down here, and then one of the spirits in your charge comes down here too, even if you don't meet like in the physical world, you still have spirit contracts with them to teach them and show them. So this young lady, who I don't know except in the ways of spirit, I was showing her that what fourth D felt like and what is possible when you raise your consciousness, because we're all going to go through that eventually in the next like 50 to 100 years. um our race is moving towards a fourth density experience.
Going into we're going into a feminine age. Yeah,
absolutely. So I hope that answers the question a little bit, and feel free to ask follow-up questions. I do have a couple more questions for Steven, and then we'll get to the chat. I appreciate
all right, cool.
Yeah, I appreciate your guys' patience, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just want to say 11 people in the chat. Hale, thank you very much for being here. Please support Immortal Coil, share out the link, smash the like. And man, we greatly appreciate you guys being here, interacting. Scott, promise, that's a good question. We're going to get to that in a moment. Go ahead, brother. Shoot away.
Okay, the first time you consciously casted, because I know like we're always manifesting, and in that way we're always casting, but it's different when you're actually intending to do something. And I have a story about that. Let me share that real quick first.
Okay.
When I was a junior in high school, one of the first people that I became friends with, and this is a female, by the way, and I think it was like a science class or something stupid. We were seated at the table with two other girls, And then they started being catty with each other. And one of the other girls talks to my friend and says, hey, you're a little bit much sometimes, and you could probably like stand to shut up a little bit more. And then in typical, like, I don't do that. Do I do that? And she's talking to me. And I said, do you want me to be honest? And she goes, yes. And I said, sometimes, and I meant it in the way that I still love you, but she called a spade, right? So this utterly pissed off my friend, and she just stopped talking to me. She would not look at me in the eyes. And this was at the point where I was starting to grow metaphysically. So I went inside and got some intuition that I could handle this one of two ways. I can become weird about it, or I could put to use some of the principles that I learned. So I went home and I got a piece of notebook paper and I wrote her name on it, and I drew like a crude little picture, and then I put little hearts all over it. So I was like, I'm going to surround you with nothing but love until you come out of this shit. And it took a couple weeks, but sure as shit, she started talking to me again, and never mentioned the upset ever again. So that was my first time casting. Yeah.
Can I give you 3? Can I give you 3?
Sure.
Okay, because when I first started casting, it was a runaway train. We're talking magic mirrors. Dude, I went from bulb spells into summoning. So,
oh shit.
Well, dude, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so the very first spell that I remember consciously doing is, oh man, as this seed grows, may her love for me. The bulb spell. Yeah, man, bulb spell. Yeah, you take anything, a potato, a carrot. You could use a carrot. You could use an onion. You take that, you put it into a potted plant, or you pot it, and then you water it each day, and then you say a mantra over it every day. So the very first spell Walton never cast was, I want to get laid. So I cast this spell.
Of course it was.
Yeah, of course it was, right? Yeah, Taurus. So when I started working on the bulb spell, literally every woman not related to me began to act weird, began to come on to me. My ex's sister, my future baby mama, all this energy started up. And that was actually kind of scary at the moment, because I'm a young kid. I was 13. I'm 13 years old casting this. No, 14, excuse me. I was 14. And, I'm not used to dealing with the intricacies of teenage girls, gossiping and then fighting over one another for me. You know what I mean? And all out of nowhere that happened.
Holy shit.
Dude, yeah. So the first light and dark, I'm a mage. So light and dark. So the first curse that I ever learned was by my friend who was adopted. She was Filipina, and she walks up to me one day and she goes, "So Stephen, I hear you practice." She was a few years older than me. For some reason, I always attracted older women, she was like, "I hear you practice." Like, yeah. She was like, "What are you doing right now?" I said, "Well, I'm learning like aura protection, aura growth." I was trying to see auras, but and there was a time when I could see a little bit of color, but it's always been clear. But I was using protection, shielding, this is before my mirror magic days. And so she walks up, she goes, "Just stay here for a second." She goes, "Just stand still." I was like, "All right." She balls her fist up, closes her eyes, opens her eyes back up, starts slowly bringing her fist toward my side, and my kidney began to hurt.
Yeah.
She collapsed my aura.
Holy
and I was like, "Oh my God, teach me." Oh my God. So that's one of the things I learned how to, at an early age, use my aura to influence other people. To the don't see me spell. Don't see me, don't see me, don't see me, don't see me. Literally walk through a room.
I always say blind. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, that's the same thing, dude. That's one of the first things I learned was don't see me, don't see me. Learn how to cloak yourself.
Yeah.
And also to influence others, which is why I can accentuate my ego the way that I do now. It's one of the first things that I learned was how to push myself out energetically into a room or into the perception of other people and be explosive and draw attention and you can use that, as I'm sure you know, for those in the audience who don't, you can use manipulating your astral, the astral edges of your aura, to influence other people. You can use it to influence their emotions. You can use it to detect what's going on with them. You can use it passively to scan people. And so, yeah, those were the first few things that I began to learn when I was coming up as a little witch.
That's interesting stuff, man. I used to know a girl who knew how to siphon off the aura. Like she would absorb other people, and she showed me one. She's like, "This is gonna feel a little bit weird, but I wanted to show you what I know how to do." And we put our palms, like my palm was
trick, the palm trick, right.
Yeah. So she pulled and then she pushed, and she says, "I don't really do this to people. I mostly do this to plants." You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a trip. And that blind thing, I've done that a couple times. I remember I was at a park, and somebody that I did not want to see me was there, and I just wanted to pass through, and I just kept on saying in my head, "Blind," and I'm staring right at her, just blind. And,
in there, right.
Of course, she didn't see me.
Crazy. That is so, like, when I first discovered that, it was a trip, man. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think animal empathy is an extension of that as well, because most people don't. And I actually learned that more from astral travel than anything else. I would go astral, and I would try to talk to people, and there's a portion of their mind that would talk back to me, but the person is totally not like engaged in the conversation. They're like shopping for groceries or closing their car door or whatever. But animals totally responded to me in the astral state. I'd go and play with dogs and birds and shit. Yeah, man.
Yeah, my son has that, dude. And my spirit animals are pissed at me right now, because every animal around me, with the exception of dogs, thank God for dogs, because dogs are more 3D than 4D. Yeah. So in an animal state, like, my root energy is good, but like if it's a cat, if it's something that lives like between the worlds, it's very freaked out by me, and I get it because of everything I've been through. God, there was something else. Damn it, there was something. The energy. Listen, so Walton went through a whole lot of different types. I wanted to learn everything I could, man. That's the necromancy that I got into, dude. Once I fucking learned how to summon. All right, which I don't recommend if you're not practiced, because it causes a lot of things, including augmenting yourself with entities that may not be good for you. But hanging out with a coven of psychic vampires was the strangest experience I ever had, because they're feeding off of you. They're feeding off of your light and your energy. It's kind of like it's a give and take relationship. You're willingly being their supply, Right. But you also learn how to, like, and the reason I hung out with them was because I was learning energy manipulation at the time. And I was also wanted to expand on my psychic ability, my invasion, my dream walking and all that. And they're very good at that. Psychic vampires are very good at that. But hanging out with them, the palm trick, absolutely. This one dude was so powerful. He could just take his hand, and it was like airbrush, like not touch you, but airbrush across your arm, and your hairs would stand up right where he's airbrushing, right. And it was crazy. But eventually, I realized, all right, if I stay here, I'm just going to be a plant.
Pretty much,
I'm just going to be a plant to these people. So I got to, I took off. And then I hung out with some Satanists, Satanic Beth. Man, she used to call me Warlock Steve. I'm like, I'm not a warlock. She's like, you will be. And I'm like, oh my God, you dark bitch.
Did you nail her too?
No, I didn't fuck Satanic Beth. Huh. And she wasn't interested in sex. She was a cutter. You know what I mean? You're
probably
shades,
better off for that.
Yeah. I used to go over to her house, to cut school, go over to her house and watch Dark Shadows. There was, but she had black curtains
watch
everywhere.
Darnie Darko and cry.
Too. But she would attract people who were low vibrational, and troubled. And I mean, that's probably why I was there to a point. But what I learned from that was how to navigate my dark side, like through that period of my growth. And it's like you can learn something from everybody, right?
Yes.
Like when I say satanic, I don't mean like Luciferian in the way we think of it. It was there's different types of Satanists.
Right.
I'll just and there are Satanists out there who are they deal with their animal instincts, their animal chakra, their animal powers.
Right.
I live as the beasts of the field. That's kind of how they are. And, in nomidii nostrae satanas luciferi excelsiae, that's how they live. And the way that I can describe it is the strong survive in those types. Dude, I was at a mall with this black dude, Satanic Ray. I'm at the fucking mall one time. And there was a dude who was like angry at one of us. He didn't try to hit. He was like threatening to hit. He like sped up and, and jerked the car at one of us kids. And so all of us were like, oh, hooting and hollering because we were the big tough kids in this like a neighborhood. But anyway, so he sped off. We go across the street to the McDonald's. And kind of like most of us standing over there. Satanic Ray walks up. This is the craziest shit. Satanic Ray sitting there and he goes, Steve, you want to see something? Or no, Lodo, you want to see something? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, here, watch this. There's the guy. And I said, yeah. And he says, all right, just keep watching him. And this dude takes out the parking lot, speeds down to the light. As soon as he gets to the light, bam, T-boned. And I was like, oh my God. Ray looked at me and said, hail Satan.
Holy
shit. Yeah. I was like, what? Yo, that's another level. Yeah, bro. Like, so there are the dark ones out there, the narcissistic, deviant, Satanists out there. But there are some people out there that just like are in tune with their animal side, their dark side. And I learned a lot from them too, without becoming that narcissistic deviant.
Same, dude. I've had friends who are Satanists, and it's more about like autonomy and bucking the system. But we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Is religions like that are more a reaction to the religion that was before it, and in that way you're still giving it energy. So I refuse to label myself. I haven't been like trained by anybody. I know what I know, and I know how to do what I know how to do. And
well, you're learning. You're a true solitary. Like I'm Wicca. Dude. Like Wiccan is my base, and that's because I'm. It's crazy, right? Everybody recognizes it. When X came over with the narcissist in tow, like she was really upset because she lost her parents when she was young, and she was like, I really miss my mom. And the dynamic there is this dude, her dad, it was very yelly, bipolar, kind of a hitter, and so that's why she's with that dude, because he's crazy and like that. But she would come to me, and this is what I just figured out when she said this, because she's sitting here at this very seat crying and saying, I miss my mom, I really need my mom. And I'm like, oh my God, you're reliving your childhood trauma, and you came to me because my feminine energy is very pronounced. I'm a son of the moon, and so it is that balance has always allowed me. That's why I'm more intuitive, I think, than most. It's why like other women will come to me, like psychic women will go, you're very intuitive for a male. Like, that's, I'm a mother of the sun. I'm a son of the mother. So it's for me, like goddess worship, I was always drawn to goddess worship. Yeah. But I'm also I'm balanced, the masculine means something to me. I'm my father's son. God damn it. I stand tall. Yeah. I don't kneel before my God. I stand up because that's what Dad wants. He wants me to stand up and be a man.
Toe to toe, eye to eye, yes, sir.
Right, toe to toe, eye to eye. Be a man, son. He's that's the way that I look at it. That's not to say that everyone else's life path as their connection to source. Some people need to learn through their life to be subservient, controlled. I don't know how to put this. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
I get it.
You know what I mean? But it's like in that kind of like, kneeling before the Father.
In a karmic sense, yeah.
In a karmic sense. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It's your life path.
And it's interesting. I had a hard time dealing with like masculine men until I was like in my 20s when I finally like grew some hair on my balls.
Well, You've got
Yeah.
feminine energy too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah,
And growing
absolutely.
up, like I had a lot of female friends, and I just had an easier time
Hmm.
dealing with that because most men, especially young boys in like middle school, they'll cut themselves off from their feelings, and it's more about
Hmm.
peacocking and posturing than I would care to engage in.
Right.
And it really wasn't until I started training martial arts where I started embracing my own masculinity. And that's not to say like I was a girly boy or anything. I was very much a dude. I just didn't have the tools to deal with muggle dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great word. Great word. The truth of it. Listen, and it's so strange, like it's like, dude, we are so alike. It's crazy.
Yeah.
When you are, this is what, like, I think that, like, the toxic alphas, you know what I mean, the dude bros, like,
Mhm.
I don't think that they understand is that I am so comfortable with my masculinity. Like, I am so, that part of me is grown. That part of me is I've already been through my lives where that has been my focus. And
Sure.
I am now in this life in a focus where I am balancing and concentrating on my feminine energies, my empathy, my compassion, my emotional attachments. And so when you encounter the dude bros, when you encounter like the guys who are very hyper masculine or very set in their masculine energy, they look at you and they're like, "Oh, that guy must be gay," or "There's something wrong with him." You know, and it's like, no, dude.
Yeah.
Like I've already gone through those classes. The class you're in right
Right.
now, already passed.
Right.
You know, like, I'm good with me. The true power is in the balance. This is
It
one of the
is.
reasons why early on, you know, not just that I had gays in my family, but early on, I understood that people who are gay, or, you know, born gay, choose to be, whatever the case is, or, you know, bisexual, those are people whose life paths, those are geared in that energy, are geared in a certain type of energy. And that's why it expresses itself through their sexuality. That's not a sin. There's nothing wrong with that. Love is love, you know?
Yeah. As long
Yeah.
as
And
you're of age and consenting.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, even not sexually, just like in the heart chakral sense
Right.
of connection, emotion and connection. So it's all like those types of things. Like I never needed a class. I never needed a sensitivity class. I never needed to be taught. I didn't need, there's just, and I innately understand because I am a son of the mother. I'm a son of the moon. I understand these things as basic truths, as what they are. I see them. I see this truth. I understand this truth. It is something that I don't need to comprehend because it comes from within. It is an attachment that I have through the collective with this energy that this person's putting off.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, so, but going back, you know, like I said, everyone's path is theirs to choose and how they grow.
Right.
But when you encounter men who are like, you know, still in that masculine class, they're still in that solar class,
Oh, yeah.
and they see someone like us, sometimes they get threatened. Sometimes they have to, like, you know, call us gay. Sometimes they have to act a certain way because they can't conceive of men who are so comfortable with their masculine energy, been there, done that, that we can connect on a deeper level with our emotions, empathy, and intuition.
Definitely. And that's like a prerequisite to developing any sort of psychic talent at all. You can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it, but it's not the same.
Solar powers do have psychic connection, but it's not what it's meant for. It's not what it's meant to be. Yeah.
Right. And see, I grew up, my father is like physically larger than me. Plus he did martial arts since he was like in his 20s.
Nice.
So I was, and he's from Texas and he's in the military. So he was very disciplinarian and he used his physicality to intimidate straight up. So for me, I had this bad program in my head of like martial arts and blah, 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 and sports and all that equals toxic male jerks. When really, like I said earlier in my life, I was a little bit out of balance with all that kind of stuff. And once I started learning martial arts, like in earnest, I'd say around 16 or 17, number one, that teaches you confidence. And the branch that I study was was Tai Chi, and I was taught by a Taoist abbess. So she started turning me on to like Lao Tzu and Chuang Tzu and people like that. You fortify your mind, but you're also training your body. So you're not. It's kind of like getting handed a spiritual revolver. So you're not
right.
Yeah, you're not physically intimidated by huge dudes anymore because you know how fragile the body is.
Yeah, and you're also aligning your chi. You know, so it's all connected. Yeah,
it is, dude. But once that took place for me, I could start to lean in on my masculinity more and get a little bit more cocky and a little bit more brazen about certain things. But I never lost.
Of course, you were Taurus.
Yeah. But I never lost that spiritual root, and I never lost my empathy. I just realized that talking with dude bros, you have to like almost adopt their language and their behaviors. And then, you know, that helped me get jobs like in construction or in manufacturing or metalworking and all that kind of stuff. Because they're populated by dude bros. And a lot of these people are just like you said, they're in their solar class.
Yeah. That's solar energy. Yeah.
They're just dumb, kind of like good enough to swing a hammer. I've been to jail a couple times kind of dudes, you know, and there's a limit to where they can go. And as long as you don't like threaten them or go past their knowledge center, they're actually pretty tame critters.
In the same way that uncontrolled lunar women are feminists.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those
That's a big
are
problem too.
Those are your feminist types, because they're like, I can see more than you. I can give life. I got, you know, like, yes, of course. Yeah. Ththose powers are sacred and awesome.
You can give life when I plant the seed, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But like, right. Cause women are more intuitive, and that's why they're social creatures. They're more manipulative. They're more maneuvering, because they have those senses and connection. But it's, you know, but you have those uncontrolled lunar feminist types. Who look at the solar men, look at the men who are out there in the middle of a storm, climbing up a pole to put your power back up. You know, you're the men out there that are climbing up on skyscrapers to put buildings together, that are building your highways, your cars. You know, those are solar men. Those are sons of the Father. That is construction, strength, you know, infrastructure, reinforcement, protection, the killer instincts. But you know that those are solar powers. And there is, I've always understood that there's an equal medium here. We're not the same. Men and women are not the same. I don't care if you cut your dong off and put a gash in. You know, you're like, we're not the same.
We're meant to complement one another.
We're meant to complement each other. We're meant to work together. And on a biological level, you know, not gay and a certain other lifestyles notwithstanding, they have their own energetic placement too. But as a mainstay of our species, both of these energies should be respected. Controlled solar and controlled lunar create a union in which two individuals empower one another and cover each other's blind spots. So whereas the man's out there building, holding things down, being protective, being the masculine principle, the woman, the lunar, is the home, the family, the backbone, the empathy, the heart. Only a powerfully accepting, confident woman can bring the emotional center, which in a solar creature, in a man, is buried down underneath all our shit.
Yeah.
Only she has the ability to make him feel safe and pull that power out, that pain from the deepest part of his root. You know, in the same way that a truly solar man will protect a woman and give her the protection, the authority, the daddy energy that she needs. These are a balance. And what we see today is great, reckless, uncontrollable energies. This is why you have feminism. This is why the institutions, the powers that be, the Illuminati, this is why they try to masculinize women and feminize men, because they understand that destabilizing these energies by focusing on what they are not is what is going to create chaos and discord amongst us, the collective.
Very well spoken, sir.
Thank you, sir. We should go back to the chat, dude.
Yeah, let's get into this. I appreciate you guys being patient. Steven and I can spin a yarn, dude. So we appreciate your patience here. But the thing I like about talking to the chat is that it really opens up the conversation way past the kind of loose guidelines that I come up with during the week. So first off, we got Deborah Cohen. I may have a poltergeist or a Slimer ghost because my family room lighting keeps flickering, and she has a little laugh emoji, which yeah, it's interesting too. But another possibility you might consider is that somebody's telekinetic gift might be going haywire as well.
That's true. Yeah. I've had a lot of. I used to work with a paranormal society. I've had a lot of experience. I'm a necromancer. So I've had a lot of experience with death energy, necro energy. Another possibility could be it could be a curse. There could be a cursing or someone manically thinking about you in a negative way. Dark people, if you have anyone dark around you, they attract poltergeists. They attract demonic energy. Narc-X, I don't want to call her Narc-X. My ex would come over to when she would drive down to Florida to have sex with me and then ghost. She would drive down there in my room. When she was there, the light in my ceiling fan would start flickering to the point to where one time she pointed at it and freaked out and was like, "Oh my God, that's happening here too. That's happening here too. Maybe your energies need to be realigned because that shouldn't be happening." That, and also there's also the possibility that there is a portal. There is if you have power lines near your house, that generates a certain disturbance within the electromagnetic field that can open portals. But I mean, if it's not just a basic electrical line messing up, if it's not that, then it can also be a relative, an angelic spirit, a guardian trying to communicate with you. When you take a look at
attention,
when that's flickering, do me a favor. When that happens, think about what are you thinking about at that moment? What's going on in your life at that time? Is there a pattern? And then understand that that's a communication, because whether it's a dark or light force or something trying to get your attention, there you will find a pattern. The pattern will exist there, and once you figure that out, you'll know why. And honest to God, sometimes it could just be you need to get your wiring checked. In fact, that is a possibility.
Sure. Question, Stephen. This has happened to me recently, where my field will sometimes cause street lamps to flicker.
That happens to me all the time. Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. So
they'll dim and die.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's this one that I would always walk past, and every time I walked past, boom, it went out. And I was like, huh.
Yeah,
okay.
That is a sign from your. That is either a sign from your spirit guides, or it is your aura being unregulated. There's something going on. There's something you shouldn't be doing. There's something that's throwing your powers off, because that can be your astral aura touching and draining that. If you are in a state of depression, if you are in a lowly state, like a low vibrational state, and your astral's like dying for energy, you're not feeding that part of yourself. And so that can be feeding off of that. On the dark side, it could be a poltergeist. It could be some kind of dark or demonic activity that's following you, or in the area localized in the area that you are disturbing. If you're saying it's that single light, it is most likely a localized energy entity that is trying to get your attention. You know, it's like when you can see ghosts, which we both can. When you can see those things, you understand that if you pay attention, if you let it know that you can see it or hear it, it's not going to stop. It's going to keep waving its arms. It's going to keep moving stuff. Yeah. It's going to hide your shit. You know, all that stuff can happen. And that's because it's getting attention from someone in the 3D.
Yep.
So next time you walk past there, dude, just take a moment, look at the area, try and get your senses, get your bearings, and see what you can feel. Because that's what I'm sensing from it. There's a localized entity trying to get your attention.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm getting tingly, so I'll take that into mind.
Yeah, that feels right. That just feels right.
Okay, moving on. We have Deborah once again saying monetized. You'll get there. With your guys' help. Yeah. So I mentioned this a couple times. I have about 1,000 more watch hours before I qualify for ad partnership or whatever. Yeah. And then once that happens, you're not going to be able to shut me up. I'll probably stream like 3 times a week, trying to get the thing going. Yeah.
There's a real interesting one. It's just a comment that I want to mention. It's not just something we can mention. Papa Cotton said that the 5th through the 11th is hard to wrap your brain around. Yeah, man. That's when you're out there. I don't think I've ever achieved anything near the 11th, but I've definitely scraped the 5th. I know that I have. You can't, when I was in my summoning days, absolutely, because you're opening a portal, you're opening a gateway into an entirely different realm, and you can reach down into the lower realms easily with this, to ensnare something, contain it, and use it to achieve an end. So that, I mean, it's dangerous work if you don't know what you're doing. But definitely reaching up into the 5th, I know that I have. But anything higher than that, I'm not too damn sure. But that's a pretty cool comment, dude. You understand? Papa understands. I think Papa's one of us. He's one of us. I think he understands.
He is. He's just like a professional troll, you know.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I could tell like he's just jaded about shit, man. The humanity has conducted themselves insanely, and he's probably the only one that notices it in his sphere. So.
There was a really cool one that I wanted, Scott Clark, that I wanted to answer. I don't know if he's still there. I hope he is. And this is actually, I want to direct this toward you. It's at 28 after the hour.
Let me look.
And he says sleep paralysis, demon attack, or gateway to the other side, or both. And I think that you can best answer this because I believe that there is both a terrestrial and extraterrestrial answer to this one.
Sure. Certain extraterrestrial groups will definitely put you into a paralysis state. The human brain. So first of all, you guys know I'm a contactee. Our genome was not designed on Earth. It was designed outside of Earth and then placed here. And at the time of its design, we basically had an off switch or a kill switch installed that if you knew how to tap into it, you could basically render us nil. Particularly the Greys like to do this. They will paralyze your body.
The Greys. It's called the Cosby gene. I'm sorry, guy.
There you go. The Cosby ray. That's what Stephen likes to call it. They will paralyze your body because they are physically much, much fragile than we are. The tall ones are a little bit more physically imposing, but not just because of their height. And especially if you're like a trained martial artist or something, you could just take them the fuck apart. The little ones are the AI, and those are the ones that you could just like twist their head around and it would come off in your hand. So yeah, they do employ sleep paralysis, but interestingly, fear is the instrument of instilling order and hierarchy in the Grey society. So if you can make it another being afraid of you, then that means you have dominion over them. I had an encounter once with a Grey hybrid who tried to get buck and try to get in my face, and I had to stare him down like he was a bad dog.
Really?
And,
Grey hybrid?
Yeah, so Greys practice hybridization with races similar to themselves. They've tried to do it with Terran humans, but a lot of those beings are inviable. They don't survive very long, or they're unable to reproduce, or they're too human for the Greys ability to deal with. Which is why they manipulate fetuses a couple of times during pregnancy, and then once they're removed, they're worked on longer. But yeah, this was a Grey hybrid, and I wanted to say he was a little bit reptilian, but not like in the sense where he looked like a lizard man. Just that he had leathery skin, he had ridges across his cranium. There was 3 dominant ones, like one in the sagittal and then one off to each side of it. And he had the big black eyes, but yeah, he was just like trying to puff up and like intimidate me. And like I said, since I've taken martial arts, not many people intimidate me. I'd have to be like super drunk and out of control of my, physical motor functions.
Don't let them bite you, Coil. All right. I was bit by a
No.
narcissist. Don't let them bite you.
No, and that's the thing. Like, if you can make them submit, they will listen to you. And I don't just do that with like my animal. I do that with my soul signature. And I'm like, do you know who the fuck I am? You better step off.
Right. Right. Right.
Fuck out of my
Fuck.
presence.
Right,
Absolutely.
right,
You did not
right.
request permission to be in my presence. You are dismissed. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how you got to treat entities. That's how you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll say after you.
No, that's cool. I've also experienced sleep paralysis upon returning from the astral. Because if you're like thrashing around and stuff, obviously your spirit's
Yep.
not going to be able to conduct itself on the finer densities. Matter of fact, since like the topic was first times, the first time I returned from an astral trip, I was not allowed to recall where I was, but I do remember coming back, and I slammed in my body, and it frightened my physical being so badly that I jumped and turned a flip from a top bunk of a bunk bed and ran out in the hallway screaming. I'm like, my dad had to come and shake me awake. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So those are two examples for me. What do you got, Steve?
Oh, all right. Sleep. Well, real quick, I want to touch on that. The black dragon. The black dragon comes from a dream form that I have had since I was a young summoner, and I would travel to a plane where that was my form. That's how I generate, or that's how I come into that matrix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and I have gone through the dude. Yeah, dude. I have felt like I was like paralyzed atop my bed. And like drops, like you feel like you're it's like dropping coins into a jar, it's like that's your body, you're just falling back into yourself. And sometimes it can be violently jarring. Yes, I understand what you're saying, brother. That's great. God, we're so alike, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think we found a lot of commonalities this
yeah,
evening.
dude.
I also want to say energetically, your astral body is able to come away from the body, but your other fields have to continue to animate your body for it to survive. So coming back down into that dense form can be jarring if it's your first or second time, man. I remember the first time I felt like I was separating was probably when I was like 11 or 12, and I was like weirded out by this sensation because of that vibration that happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first time I ever felt it. And I remember screaming inside my head, "Soul, no." And then like I stopped doing it. And years later, I was going to kick myself in the ass because I was like, man, I could have been doing this shit since I was 12.
Dude, I got to ask you something, because that reminds me of the first time that I flew. The astral projection is so much fun. Yeah,
it is.
When you first started flying, I know you flew. We all fly.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So the first time that you flew, is that like is that the feeling that you got, like that? Like you get back, like the intense fear when you're the tether, when you really understand your body is over here, and your mind, who you are, is over there.
Yeah. So I would say in this experience, I started to separate. Well, first you feel the vibration, and to describe it to you guys, it's almost like crumpling up paper or like ripping styrofoam or something, but it's like it feels like it's in your energy field, and then you start to separate, and then you're free and you can go and do whatever the fuck you want. But
you got to get comfortable though.
Yes, and I didn't know what was happening because this is like prior to my spiritual education. I'm still a child. I hadn't even been with an ET yet. Like that's how young I was. And I would say I slipped probably like 6 inches to 7 inches away from my body, before I realized what was
Wow.
happening, and that's when I screamed inside my own head.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. And it was just a bizarre feeling. I didn't really it wasn't until I was a teenager where I started like teaching myself how to deal with it and starting to do things and spirit guides and ETs and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, so
So-
I was with Akasha when I started doing that.
Oh.
Yeah, it was I mean, like as an astral projection within the terrestrial plane.
Uh-huh.
And so, I was going to this the Church of the Three Witches in Center City, Philadelphia. No, South Street. It was Second and South Street at the time. And so I was meeting a lot of different practitioners and of all different styles, mostly on the light side. And that was one of the things that I started practicing. And so I started doing meditational practices to project. The first time that I did it, I was laying in my bed. I came out of my body. I was like, this is amazing. It was almost akin to dream walking, but it's different. It's not the same, but it's different. It's different.
It is.
And then I just flew out of my window and went up above the tree behind my house. And
Nice.
at that point, dude, I was like, I was flying. I'm like, boy, you can fly. And I
Yeah.
saw,
I believe I can fly.
fly. So I'm up above this tree, and then this shocking terror hit me. This absolute fear, terror that I was no longer in my body. That's not where my consciousness is, and the fear of. I think it's probably like a death. It's like the fear of death.
Sure.
It just strikes you because you don't realize that tether's there. It's
Yeah.
it's strong.
Oh yeah.
But dude, I snapped right back into my body so quick.
Uh-huh.
It was like being punched. It was like being just body punched back
I
into my
believe it.
body. And then I just got up sweating. I was nervous. I had to get up and
that's
walk around.
That's a fucking
pounding.
trip, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I got a funny story about that.
Oh wait, can I real quick? Can I answer Scott? Because I didn't
go
answer
ahead.
Scott.
Yeah.
Scott, so sleep paralysis, demon attack, or gateway to the other side. Okay, there's a few answers for that. First, there is a condition that can be triggered in the mind naturally that creates paralysis.
Right.
And it's, I think, I do believe it's connected to that genetic trigger that COIL was just talking about.
Yeah.
So that could just be literally you being frozen in a state by your own genes, by your own physical, biochemical operation.
Right.
Now, when it comes to demon attacks, demons attack mostly through dream states, and they attack through mind states. And what I mean by that is what you are perceiving to be the 3D, they invade you, and they make you see things. They give you hallucinations. A paralysis can take place. Absolutely. I have been prey to, whatever you want to call it. I've seen it. An entity with a heavy weight, a heavy low vibration. We're talking, it would have to be demonic or poltergeistish.
Like one of the black shapes.
Oh, definitely. Yes. Yeah, COIL. Yes. And these things, they will lay on top of you. They will cover you. And it's definitely, it's a submissive move.
Yes.
And it is to show dominance, to create a feeling of fear and dominance, because forces like that feed off of anger, anxiety, and fear. And so that absolutely can be another reason for sleep paralysis. Now, a gateway to the other side, I think we've kind of covered that in as far as dream walking or ascending to another dimension, ascending to another plane of existence. And that is just your body's state of rest. That's your body's state of rest when you begin to detach your spirit from the body itself and go into another place. You will see people who go into prophetic dreams, psychic dreams, dream walking, planar travel, astral projection. You in all of those cases, if you're witnessing someone practicing that, their body becomes still, and their breathing goes to a point where if you don't, you've got to put a mirror underneath their nose, like that, like very steady, slow rhythm.
Well, it's minimal energy to keep the animal alive
Yes.
because
Yes,
like your
yes.
mental and your astral are doing something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So I did have a you reminded me of two stories while you were just going off just now.
Sure.
One of them was a lucid dream that I was battling a dark entity. And we were like in a castle, which sounds kind of funny, but
No,
the
dude,
stage
I've been
is
there.
the stage is set. There's
Right,
stone everywhere. The sky was purple. I remember that. And this thing would go between like materializing into a humanoid shape and becoming like a vapor. And it was trying to do stuff to me, but I was successfully combating it. But then like it looked at me and it looked at this place on my stomach that I'm just like either ticklish of or guarding of. Like I don't even like women to touch me there. And it's like in the inguinal, like on my right side. Yeah.
Okay.
And it looked at it and then it stuck its hand right into it. And then I woke up and I was like, fuck. So I count that as an L in that particular instance. So I was like, okay,
No doubt.
this fucker knew what it
That's
was
an
doing.
injury.
Yeah.
That's an injury. Yeah, that's
So
what that was. Yeah.
that was as a teenager. That was probably like when I was 18, something in there. And then and I don't want to dwell on dark shit. So I'll tell a funny one.
All right.
When I was in my early 30s, I was working as a massage therapist. And I did that for about 8 years. The second to last person that I ever worked with, it was a mom and pop shop, but they were both psychics and they were both casters, and they actually like were formally trained in California, like in Seaside. Like there's a whole fucking institute down there. So when I was like going in for a job interview, like they were both standing there. It was a husband and a wife, and I walked in and like I looked at them, they looked at me, and then we're just kind of trading eyes. And I was like, "You're a fucking intuitive, aren't you?" And he's like, "So are you." So we figured it out, and this is interesting because like he has like the opposite politics that I do, but I still got along with him as long as we didn't talk about how we thought the world should be. But he was an astral traveler. And he was like an energy worker. And that's kind of why we did massage, because we were able to get away with doing energy work while, but one night I was in an astral state and I went out and met him. And, one of the things about astral is that you tend to project your own self-image the majority of the time, but you could also be invisible. You can be energy. You can change your shape into something else, like a bunny rabbit with wings. It's just, it's whatever you feel like doing. But I was in an energetic state, and he was communicating with me telepathically, and I was trying to verbally answer him, but I didn't have a mouth. So I sat there and tried to like manifest a mouth for a minute until he looked at me and he was like, "What are you doing, dude?" Speaking verbally to me out here. What the fuck? It was just funny. I asked him about it the next day and he just kind of grinned at me. I was like, all right.
So you're
point taken.
I know it. I'm saying, like, now that I understand this about you, I want you to touch me, Coil. I want you to rub me. I'm just saying. I say,
rub you at night.
all over. Listen, I want you to hit the taint chakra. I want everything rubs.
Yeah, I'll bring a silver chick from the sky to help out with that. All right, moving on. We got Deborah saying, "I'm trying to catch up with all your streams, Coil. I have 10 more to watch." Wow, you're doing your due diligence. Let me warn you that not all of them are great quality. There have been times where I've drunk streamed and not have put on as great a performance as I should. So just giving you a heads up. But I appreciate you helping out with the hours. and hopefully you can recommend my channel to sympathetic people.
Oh,
Let's see
actually,
here.
I want to. For Deborah's got a couple of her. She said, "Yeah, it's a ceiling fan light. Yeah, okay. I do
Okay.
have power lines. Power lines. Okay, the power lines themselves. I'm talking about like the tall, the tall ones, like the really big. I don't know what they're called. The high powered, high energy lines.
Like the high tension lines, the ones with the
High tension.
lattice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Those are the ones, that create magnetic fields and can open portals in all different kinds
Let's
of
not
ways.
forget about cell phone towers. The cell phone towers are and cell phone frequencies are tuned to be on the
Oh,
same
yeah?
wavelength as the human brain. So
5G is not healthy.
it's not.
5G is not healthy. No,
No.
there's a reason why. There's a reason why 5G is out there, because it brings people down. The same reason why all the, in the last century, the United States government, I can't think of the department, made sure that all music is played at a certain frequency.
A
Because
equals 440
the low-
hertz. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Keeps you at a low vibration, a disturbing vibration.
Yeah.
They understand what the ancients understood. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Energy, crystals, ley lines, magnetic
Frequency.
lines,
Yep.
frequency, all of these things are powerful, create manifestation. You can levitate, you can build shit like pyramids using these powers. She also said that my brother passed away in 2017 from cancer. I feel like he's my guardian angel. I understand. Absolutely, he could be your guardian angel, one of your guiding spirits. Understand that time
Absolutely.
is a construct in the 3D. Time is a construct of us. We construct that measurement.
That's true.
And one of my guardians is my grandfather, who died when I was a year old, but he is with me. My grandpa Walton is with
Totally.
me. So time isn't relevant when it comes to our concept of time. Isn't relevant when it comes to the spirit realm. When it comes,
No.
so absolutely, if you feel that, Deborah, that is the truth. It is the truth.
I'm glad you pointed that out, man. My mother probably died and went and saw me.
I believe it.
But the part of me
Believe
that's on the other side. Yeah.
Right, because the duality of existence. Oh, sir, yes. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Time is something that's put into the universe for our benefit. It's a trick of it's how God
COIL.
gods. Yeah. What's up, buddy?
Well, we both agreed on that. I am not kidding you. My entire vision flashed red. That's crazy, dude. That is crazy.
Hey, only
Wow,
on the
dude.
Savage Spirituality Show. This is
I'm loving this, dude.
Yeah. It's funny because I considered myself as somebody who knew you pretty well, but I found like tonight through our discussion that there's whole layers to this thing. And
Dude,
it would be
I've been in the broom closet, man. Look, the first time I tried talking about this, back author Stephen Walton days, like year one fandom menace. All right. The moment I said I'm a witch, all of a sudden the ambassador and a few other people were like, "Oh, he's a bad person." You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
That's the reaction I got. And then when I did it again not too long ago, I had Bounding into Comics coming at me and everybody EVS going, "Repent, repent." I'm like, "Oh, get the fuck out of here. You fucking idiots." This is my safe space. This is my safe space with Immortal Coil. This is where I can be the spiritual, witchy necromancer that I fucking am.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy it. And Dragonstorm was going to be that. Like, Dragonstorm was going to be me and, Ash, a couple of witches doing tarot cards and doing spell shit. And then what happened,
Yeah.
And then now I've got Ravenwolf sitting in the wings. I got a third channel sitting in the wings, not doing anything with. But I'm really comfortable being here and doing this with you, and finding out and discovering that our kinship is much deeper. We're from the same vein, brother.
Yeah. Well, this
and
is
that's why,
spirit
like,
work. I'm getting tingly vibrations all over the place. It's funny, Steven.
My spirit hand is reaching over for your paint right now.
Give it a reach around. Spiritual reach around. Hashtag spiritual reach around. But it's a trip, man. The first time I saw you on that Geeks and Gamers Jeremy stream with, your fuckhead co-author, I was like, there is something about this dude. And I had the feeling like somehow we'd be involved. And then all these years later, it's like this is the hand of the gods kind of stuff. This is like
Absolutely.
spirit work. So, thanks for being a part of it.
And
dude.
not just spirit work for me. It's like, it's like when you first started talking to me about your experiences with extraterrestrials,
Yeah.
and you were like, I understood I read your vibration right away.
Yep.
It was like, I'm opening up about this. I don't really talk about this. I want to talk about this because this is real shit, but people aren't
Yeah.
going to believe this. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, bro. I know. I turn into a black dragon when I close my eyes. I understand.
Right.
I walk around in people's head as a white wolf. I get it. I fucking
Right.
understand. And so I'm glad that we found one another. I believe you 100%. I absolutely believe you. And that is having an environment, whether anyone watching us believes or not, or just getting entertained, that's beautiful. But being able to express your authentic self, your true experiences, means more than anything. That's why Dragonstorm grew. Like, whether it was right, wrong, or indifferent, Dragonstorm has been my authentic expression of the traumas that I went through, of the experiences that I lived. And that is why my channel is what it is. And the people who did that to me and co-signed to it haven't grown for shit. Because
Right.
there's a difference between authenticity and being fake, and we're being real. Like, this is going to grow.
Yeah.
The Savage Spirituality, Sage and the Savage, whatever we
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
as long as we're being real, this is, especially with our power sets, man.
Correct. There's no reason. There's no
There's
way
no
we could
reason.
fail.
No. Well,
Yeah.
we make it fail. We would make it fail.
Yeah, unless it's self-sabotage. But see, that's the thing about, and your audience will appreciate this too. That's the thing about true healthy friendship and relationship versus being preyed upon by a narc or whoever, is that that true relationship is nourishing and you get a charge off of it. It's not draining. Like there are times like because it's a later show, I usually take a nap early in the evening, and I'll wake up and I'll feel groggy and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. But then I get online with Steven and I get charged up, and we end up talking for like 2-3 hours about here and there and everywhere.
Dude,
Yeah.
I was tired of shit. I took a nap and I was like, oh God, I gotta go live. I went and made coffee. I'm like, I can't let COIL down 2 weeks in a row.
Thank you.
And now here we are, and I'm having I don't want to stop. I'm having a great time.
No, yeah,
Let's
we
go
still
back-
got a lot of chat to get through. So
Let's go back to the chat. Yep.
there he is.
Read my
That's-
mind.
Yeah, that's Rookie saying sup fatties. What's going on, brother? Don't know if you're still
Hail-
listening, but
Hail
Yeah.
trans fat.
Hail Trans Fat. He is he's another guy that I've known as long as I've known Steven, and he's actually one of the only YouTube guys that I've met like face to face in person because we live in the same state. Good guy, fluffy. He makes great sandwiches.
You got
Somebody-
the hug. You got the hug, Rookie. I'm jealous.
I did. And you guys go give him a reach around. He deserves it.
Yes. And pat his taint. Listen, he's a sensitive guy. All right. He's a little pudgy. Just like give it a slap. Just a little bit of tap. Just please give it to him. Thank you.
So Deborah says, not to make things sound all gender roly, but I don't like being the dude in the relationship 24/7. It's cool until it stops being cool when I always got rejected. And we were just talking about the balance of masculine and feminine within all of us. But also if you're picking guys who are like overly feminine and need like a strong hand, this is your invitation to not do that anymore.
Yeah, Deborah, I know Deborah, you're a fellow thriver and survivor from narcissistic abuse, so I have to ask this question because, Borderline would do this to the narc. Did he ask you to peg him? Did he ask you to put a strap on and put it in his ass? I'm just asking because I have this theory that narc dudes are all gay. And I would just, or bisexual, excuse me, be PC. I'm wondering,
Well, while we're talking about this, I also want to bring up male feminists because
manginas.
yeah, if you're for gender equality, I get it. Equality of opportunity, not of outcome, then I get it. I'm one of those, and I would say in some ways I'm a classic feminist in the sense that if there's something that you want to do, go ahead and do it. but
Right.
realize that your femaleness, your innate, what'd you call it, moon energy,
Yeah.
it's guided towards nurturing and towards making a home. So
But
if you spend 35 years like chasing a career, and then suddenly your clock starts screaming at you, but you've treated men like shit your whole life, you've basically aged out of the market.
well,
When you've probably passed over the right guy like 100 times because you thought he was too.
I'm
Yeah.
not sensing that. I'm actually not sensing that from Deborah.
No,
what
not
I'm
from her. And I was speaking in general. Yeah,
Oh,
not
okay,
from her.
okay. I'm sorry.
no.
Well, I was getting an intuitive. I was getting a psychic impression, not from you, but from her.
Yeah, no, and I was on a soapbox about that, but yeah, I know you're a survivor, Deborah. I wasn't talking bad about you. I was just
No. What I wanted to
about
say
this-
was like
yeah. Go ahead.
okay, Deborah. This is what I have discovered in my choice in women, and most especially my ex, is there are women who have solar energy. They have been a woman so many, like I have been a man so many times. I'm good with that. I passed that class. Like my ex, for all her faults, God bless her. She has masculine energy. She is a woman, very feminine, past that class. She already passed that class, and she's in her solar. And the two of us, one of the dynamics between us was I am a lunar man and she's a solar woman. I have also dated a lot of solar women, and to be honest, when I date a lunar woman, there's too many fifis. There's like way too many fifis happening. It's the truth. It throws me off. I actually date. Some of my exes have been bisexuals. And it's not because I like having threesomes, because I do. But it's because the solar energy in a feminine body is something I feel a balance with.
Sure.
And I just, because I understand I'm dealing with a woman who
They're
is
not dead bodies in the sack either.
no, they're not dead bodies in the sack, and they can also be like chest bumpy. You know what I mean? Like they got dude bro. They can have dude bro energy, and it's kind of like, actually, to me, it's kind of a turn on. It's very weird, and so that's one of the dynamics that I find. So like you may be a solar woman, and that's a natural dynamic of a woman who has gone through your lunar phases already, and you may have already passed that class or close to it. You're going through this experience, and that you may attract men who are lunar men because of that. What you need to do is don't attract narcs and don't attract negative men. Right. Don't attract a lunar man who doesn't have control over his fifis. And if you find that, then you will find a balance where you can both vacillate between femininity and masculinity, in a very comfortable, copacetic way.
Yeah. So my last relationship was with a solar female. Like she was totally career oriented before she was with me. She's like has a household. She's raising kids. She's making, six figures, that kind of thing. But when I got with her, well, number one, she was like a crush I had from when I was a teenager. So it was kind of like, oh, it finally happened. And sex was good. We were mostly in tune with each other, but I would say we were maybe only like 70% compatible. There's still like that disparaging element. But I found that her requirement for a mate, I was way more stoic than I am meant to be, to the point where like she didn't want to hear about any of my problems. I had to I had to talk to the fatties, honestly, like Snow Dub and Ladonis and Black Angus, about what was going on with me personally, because my quote unquote partner did not want to hear about it, because she viewed that as oh, you think you have it bad, you want to know what I go through, and it was like having a dick measuring contest. I was like, so
she was toxic solar.
Yeah. And then and that's the other interesting thing, because especially with her male child, she was totally nurturing and totally wanting to hear about his feelings and totally but that's appropriate
Black
for a
hole,
boy.
son.
Yeah, it's just not appropriate for a man.
Yeah.
The man goes out and works, and he comes home and eats dinner and has sex at night and doesn't talk about his feelings, that kind of shit.
Yeah, that's a black hole sun right there
Yeah.
you're dealing with, man.
So that there was definitely a time limit on that relationship. And now that I'm out of it, I mean, I do have some good memories for the spank bag, but I wasn't thriving. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I got some good nudes out of that one. So
yeah.
Papa Cotton says, you have any idea how difficult it is to find your channel, bro? LOL, #fatties. I don't know if he's talking about me or Rook, but if you're talking about me,
it's hard.
Yeah, if you
Take
subscribe,
the ones out.
Yeah, subscribe, and can you change your channel like that, or are you stuck with it?
You absolutely can change your channel. You can edit your channel on a desktop. You have to use a desktop PC or laptop. Go to your channel branding.
I'll figure that out. That actually is when I would be in the chat on live streams, people would be like, "One mortal COIL 1," and then they had to say it, and then they're like, "Oh, it's Immortal COIL," And
no, look,
then,
I get it.
Yeah, but
it's
so we'll take care of that. I also want to say subscribe and hit the bell, and then you'll get the notifications when I'm going live or when I post a video or all that kind of stuff. But
and you want to be here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we talk about taint chakras and
man. We talk about real legit serious shit here.
Absolutely.
All right, either that or we are both fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a great stream. Have fun.
It's good information, but admittedly, I could probably do more for self-promotion than I do. I got stuck in this mindset once where I know I'm talking about weird shit and far out shit. And if I post a link and then, God forbid somebody I know shows up and then hears me talking about putting my dicks in ET bitches, then they're going to be like, okay, dude. Cause I don't
own that shit.
Yeah. Well, and I do, especially when I'm live, I don't give a shit. Cause to me, it just seems like I'm having a BS session with my buddy, but like, you got to understand, like when I'm out moving and shaking in the world, I'm not wearing a big shirt that says, I'm a contactee who's used as a breeding stud. It doesn't come up, and I don't walk around saying like, hey, I have a direct connection to the divine, and I know like the secrets of the universe. Can I interest you in a in a secret of the universe?
I get it. I graduated from giving a shit about 30, 31 and stopped wearing a pentacle. Like
there you go.
I don't. I don't need your judgment. All right.
No, totally. And
yeah,
the thing is, I'm not into proselytation. If it comes up organically and we can get into deep topics, then I'll go there. I will go as deep as you will go.
Oh, but, damn right. Deep, balls deep.
Yeah. I'm going to hit the cervix, man. The cervix of life. And, but that's the thing. If I start testing you and you don't talk the same language, I'm not going to go over your head and talk about shit that you don't understand. Because number one, it makes me look crazy. But number two, it's impolite. You have to operate with people at their level of awareness. Or else they're just not going to relate to you, and yeah. Well, and my job's communication. I have a superior talent for communication. So I want to make sure that in my communication, I'm honoring the other person. And if that means if I have to talk about lowbrow shit, then I guess I can do that. But I would rather talk about shit like this.
Well, you're a Taurus like me, your throat chakra. That's where we're at, right? And so
absolutely.
That's why I'm boisterous. Yeah, that's why I'm boisterous, man. That's why I accentuate ego from my throat, And so, God, there was like 6 things I wanted to say, and I can't think of any of them. Yeah,
you gotta keep a pad and a pen with you, buddy.
I do. I'm all over the place. One of the things that I really liked about the Dragonstorm community is when I was growing, because I have a large Christian following, I would say Christian audience, and so it was very rare. Like I got a big pentacle in my, it was. Listen, this avatar was. this avatar was meant for tarot cards and spells. All right, that was the channel I was going to build. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so, but I only every now and again I would get somebody come through and say, "Oh, why you have pagan symbolism?" And only every now and again. And when I started coming out of the broom closet over there, what I really enjoyed and have enjoyed and continue to enjoy is that I have a diverse audience of very accepting, loving people who have been through traumatic situations, who have been traumatized, life-changing experience with true evil. And once you understand what true evil is, like a narcissists are true fucking evil. And once you go through that, you look, I think that you look at symbolism that you used to, or you've been taught to, or society is taught to, or your pastor, or whatever. You look at that and you go, I don't sense darkness from that guy. I don't sense evil from that. That's not, I've dealt with the devil. I've dealt with the devil's ball hairs, narcissists. I used to call them demonic, but I think that's giving them too much credit after I just kicked the shit out of one. I honestly, you know what they are? They're Satan's taint hairs. You know what I mean? Like and that's what they are. And so
taint chakra.
Yeah, they're Satan's taint chakra. Yeah, but when you look at but like as I said, like when you have people and you have a group that's gone through stuff like that, like I don't really press it all that much. I don't hide it anymore. I'm not worried about it. I'm not like, but I'm reserved, and I deal with the level of awareness that I'm dealing with. And the people that know and understand what I am, they will ask, like Scott Clark, like Deborah will ask. They'll come through and they'll ask me questions here and there about, and I'll answer it directly.
Absolutely. Because it's invited on the whole point.
It's invited. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I put the spell out. I put a video out when I did that cord cutting spell. It wasn't the greatest video that I put out. Like, it wasn't like the most popular video. It doesn't have the most likes, but it's there for people that wish to utilize that, and I'm happy to see that. I'm truly happy that the reach of understanding amongst people who have a commonality based in dealing with traumatic experience, dealing with like true evil, it kind of raises your awareness, and it also opens up your acceptance. To other perspectives. Yeah. So like, I'm blessed, man. Dragonstorm, I'm blessed over at Dragonstorm.
Well, it just goes to show that spirituality is the solution to trauma. As you deepen, well, number one, trauma will deepen your character just by the sheer fact of surviving it. But to truly heal from it, you have to get in touch with yourself. You have to accept the situation. You have to accept your role in this situation. And then you have to be willing to forgive yourself for being in that situation and then never remanifest it. So real
CJH.
quick. Yeah, go ahead.
No, CGH is in the chat. He said, greetings. I just want to give him a shout out because he's a supporter on all of our channels, man. Hail the fourth wave.
He is. CJH actually has a lot of very astute questions, and I want to get through the chat and keep the ball rolling. But regarding what we were just speaking about, there are two instances that I can cite as a reason for not proselytizing. Okay. Number one, I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting on a bench or standing at a bus stop or whatever, and then somebody walks up to me and starts just talking about Jesus, and I would never want to make somebody else feel that way.
Yeah.
Because and I'm polite and I listen, but if I told that person what I know about Jesus, it would destroy them.
Well, it would either destroy them or they would hit you with a Bible and start getting violent.
Pretty much. And that's the thing. I don't see the necessity in destroying a Christian's worldview just because I understand something more than they do. Because most Christians are pretty nice and well-intentioned. They just don't realize that they're being fucking annoying. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's also this too. I have found, because Christ is one of my gods. I like Jesus. I like because I see it differently. Of course, I see Jesus Christ as the continuation of the Solar Messiah saga, which has been going on for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
when I am approached by a Christian who is, I measure it. All right, because I know the difference between a Christian who's coming at me with that of convert all kind of attitude, or a Christian who's actually trying to impart knowledge of the Father, their connection to
Right.
source,
Right.
And when I encounter one who is doing that, I listen, man. I
Yeah.
come to that level because there is knowledge there is wisdom, there is love there.
Yeah.
And I don't need to wave my pentacle flag in the air. I don't need to do that because I have the ability to, not ability. I see through my perspective the aspect of the divine in all its faces.
Absolutely.
You know,
Everybody
So,
has a
like,
piece
I'm-
of the truth.
absolutely, yeah. I don't have it all. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there was one time, and this will be the last thing I say on this before we move on. The one time I didn't follow this rule, I had a regular client when I was a massage therapist, and some clients like to shut up and just, get work done, but some of them like to
Yeah.
talk. And the more interesting ones were the ones that had potential to grow, to evolve, to incorporate knowledge. And then the topics of the conversation would go towards spiritual development. But this person wasn't even a recovering Christian. It was like a full fucking Christian person. And so I would have to frame my answers in that framework. But the thing that I started working on with her was quoting the Bible to her, because I know the Bible better than a lot of Christians do. And
Wow,
especially,
really?
especially in interpreting a lot of the Old Testament. So the thing that most Christians don't understand is that Jesus lived in a time before the Council of Nicaea, when many different texts composed the Christian canon that got kicked out of it
Gnostic
later
texts.
on.
Yeah.
Yes. So he would have been hyper familiar with all that stuff. Book of Enoch,
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff. The Apocrypha, the pseudepigrapha.
Yes. His
all of that.
wife was not a whore. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But was painted that way because
Yeah.
sexual connection is actually a pathway towards enlightenment.
Enlightenment.
Tantric sex, fucking the goddess, that kind of thing.
Well, they were
But-
also fighting a lot of goddess worship at the time too. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the perspective where I'm coming from is that a lot of the Old Testament, particularly in the Pentateuch, are records of humans in contact with what was called in the Bible divine beings. But they're not angels, they're visitors, right? Anunnaki.
Nephilim.
Yep.
Yeah. Anunnaki. Yeah.
There you go. So I started like breaching that subject with her, and I was doing it in a way where I was asking kind of leading questions and having her, discover the truth in that Jedi sort of way. But
Mhm.
once we got to the point where it became about ETs, she shut down like hardcore, and she never
Wow.
came to see me again because that was beyond her belief system's ability to handle it. And it was
Very
such a
frustrating.
reversal. Yeah, it was such a reversal of everything that she was taught. But when I was like, think about what it actually says. What the fuck was Jacob's ladder?
Uh-huh.
What did Daniel see in his vision?
Mhm.
What are those descriptions of the beast? What are the descriptions of angels as they truly are, with like
The
1,000
flaming-
eyes and
The flaming chariot. Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And it really upset her, and she wasn't like shaking or crying or anything, but she stopped talking and she never came to see me again. So that's what happens when I try to force my reality down someone's
Right.
throat
Well,
before they're
I-
ready to deal with it.
Okay, and I am definitely banking that your perception and understanding of that event is what it was. But I offer this. Perhaps she was at a point in her development where she needed to be shocked in order to move forward in her own perception.
That's probably true. I would agree with that. And who knows, maybe it planted a seed that
Mhm.
grew up and she fucked the plant, right?
Look, man, sometimes you got to fuck a plant. Sometimes you got to feel that energy. You got to exchange that energy, all right, with a plant sometimes.
There you go.
It's not wrong.
I find this amusing. Deborah says, I still don't know what the heck is a fatty. And then Steven came back and he says trans fat is a state of mind.
Yo, the
Lethal
best quote
Lightning.
from Lethal Lightning ever.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, trans fat is a state of mind. Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. It is an
Well,
attitude.
It's essentially a fraternity that we have in the DMs. A couple of us plus Riley Reed for some reason, but she never
Riley
pipes up,
Reed.
man.
I don't care. Riley Reed's a fatty.
Yeah,
And
she is.
she's drinking booty juice from a straw. God bless her.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, and Megs. Don't forget Megs. Megs is one of us. She's not in there, but she's still around.
She is. Yeah,
Yeah,
I kind of miss her. I hope she's doing all right. I'll have to talk.
she's
to
doing good. I see her on
about that.
Instagram. I see her on Instagram
Yeah.
still. Yeah, she's doing good. Yeah.
So Deborah says your tarot reader sounds very interesting and insightful. It would be cool to have her join the live stream. I agree. If she's a person,
Nicole's incredible.
yeah. If she's a person I'm thinking she is, weren't we on one of her streams like as chat people and she read it?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's
You know
the
who-
same
you know-
person.
Who introduced her to me was Zax, actually.
Really?
Yeah, Zax. Yeah, Zax was like, "Hey, Walton, there's a tarot. Come over to this tarot stream." And I went over there and met Beth and all those guys, and that's when I got introduced to their paranormal society. And as a matter of
Does she
fact,
have
Nicole.
Does she have a regular time she streams?
Yeah, she was going on and off for a little while. There was a little bit of instability with the channel, but
Yeah,
she is
trust me, I
beginning
understand.
she's beginning a new paranormal show, and I believe it is starting this weekend. Not sure when, but
Okay.
she's got all different. She's got an empath. She has a psychic sensitive. She has a demonologist. She has like a whole crew of people who are going out and doing paranormal investigations. So it should be pretty exciting.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have to follow her.
Yeah. And she's like a Christian witch, which is that is a thing, by the way, guys. Like her god is Christ, but she's a tarot card reader, a psychic, and just spellcaster. And I have met Christians who have had that kind of open spirituality before, and I think it's a very interesting combo. And whenever I meet those people, I embrace them because I'm like, you are definitely the odd man out, in your field of like religion and spirituality. So, very, very cool people.
Well, if she's assembling a panel of different diverse talent, I think that's a very positive thing because you need all these different voices. And that's the thing, like Stephen and I are essentially explaining the same thing, but because we've had different similar experiences or the same experience different ways, it comes out of our faces differently. So
Absolutely.
there's power to that. And yeah, it would be interesting to interact with her. Let's see here.
We're rocking it, dude. Right now.
We are. There's a lot of like
Yeah.
chit chat in the chat, which I dig.
beautiful.
I like when people are talking to each other and
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Papa Khan said he was wearing a Pentacle and a Slayer shirt. You're one of us, bro.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah. Wookiee supremacy is one of us. There's no doubt.
Did you ever see that thing where it was like they had the dude from Saved by the Bell and it said Slater, but it was like in the Slayer font?
Slayer. Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, that's pretty cool. We should get one of those for Wook.
Oh, man. It's time for. You got me wanting to listen to South of Heaven right now.
There you go.
My favorite album.
Deborah, who's like the chat MVP at the moment, she says, your mind is in overtime when you're highly intuitive. You need lots of downtime and calm. Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
charge your batteries. And there are times where, yeah, go to nature, put your spine against a tree, take your shoes off,
Yes.
feel the earth.
Ground.
But that's also the argument for the quality of the people you surround yourself with. Where I live, I don't really have many like close friends because they all live in different places. So I really live for the weekends when I'm able to, relax with Steven and just like spout some truth and say what I know. And yeah.
Cool. You know what's crazy? I'm so off topic. I don't know why this popped into my head. I think I wanted to mention it earlier. Ever since that fight that I had the other day,
Yeah.
I have been sleeping only 2 to 3 hours at a time. And I'm not exhausted. Like I'm not tired. Energetically, this event has triggered a lot of things.
Uh-huh.
So I want to ask your opinion on this. Like energetically, like what does that mean? And I don't think it's stress.
It's interesting. So the first thing I that popped into my head when you were talking about that, Leonardo da Vinci never like slept through the night. He always like took 2 or 3 hour naps and then woke up and did shit, and then took a 2 or 3 hour nap and then woke up and do shit. Essentially what that is like the stronger you are spiritually, the less physical sleep you need. And also if you're not putting like substances in your body, like if you drink,
I've been doing mushrooms. I'll be honest.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like if you drink a gallon of vodka, you're gonna sleep for 2 or 3 days. That's just how that fucking works. But if you're
COIL.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I'm going to talk about this once, all right? Because I don't want to tell everybody my plans. But listen,
Okay.
I'm about to start a new business this week. I actually wanted Ashley involved with it because she'd been good at it, but I can't deal with that bitch. Listen, I am selling reefer, like legally selling and mushrooms. The world is going insane. Your Fandom Menace historian is about to be a professional drug dealer. I am.
Wow.
No, but listen, I'm talking armed security, selling pounds, quarter pounds. Like, honestly, like you can do this now.
Is it like out of a dispensary, or is it out of like your buddy's garage?
It's a fucking table. I'm gonna go set up a table. I'm gonna have a table at a fucking, at different locations in the tri-state area, and with armed security.
Yeah.
It's some serious shit. This is going to be the foundation of the business that my son and I are going to build. And the world turns in crazy ways. I had all this prosperity with Rogue, and I had all this prosperity with my IT, with the IT job that I was working. And then I ran into I gotta stop saying NarcX. I ran into BPDX, and then all that stuff happened. And now, like, I got into this, this last foray. I did the cord cutting spell. I cut the energy off. I said no more. She started coming at me aggressively. They tried to take me to court. He tried to take me to court through her. She stopped the court. She started acting normal again, like my type of normal from 10 fucking years ago. And we were really, 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 really cool. And then all of a sudden he shows up and I kick his ass. And now I'm not sleeping hardly. I'm about to start just out of nowhere. Boom. You want to do this? Yeah. So many things. Listen, when you go down the wrong path, ladies and gentlemen, the universe will not give you your blessings. Because you're being hard-headed, you're making the wrong decisions, you're around people that only drain you, you're not doing what you're supposed to do in your life path. And the moment you recorrect, and sometimes you gotta get hit over the head. I literally tried to walk away from this whole situation because it was the Hoover back in Christmas to get Christmas money. It was the same thing that happened the last several years. Yeah. Then, then I broke the cord at Valentine's Day, which is another Hoover time that she would come back, fight with him, come be with me. And then the birthday thing, all this. And it has been a succession of me continually saying no and it being brought to my door. I'm not going to say, hey, I'm not going to say I didn't pick up the phone, and I'm not going to say I didn't text back, because I have. But it got to a point where it was like, it was established in me that this is done. This is not my path. This is not where I'm supposed to be. It's like, if you're going to choose this, we can't be friends, because you keep bringing this fucking narcissist into our lives.
Right.
But because I've stayed on that track, and guys, listen, if you watch the signs, know who you are, know who you're supposed to be, and continue on, doors will open. The heavens will open. Your guardian spirits, your guardian angels are going to be there to point the way. Well, let's look for the signs. This is the importance of keeping a level head, staying on your life path, having control over your emotions, being able to see things clearly, and making the decisions that are the most healthy for you and your life. These doors will open. And I would not have guessed a month ago that I was about to go on this endeavor. but all signs are pointing to prosperity. You're going to be good at this. This is going to be something you're going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. And it's nuts. And so I just wanted to say that because, yes, I have been eating a lot of mushrooms lately. And I have to say, I feel pretty good about that. Like, I'm all right, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, and I don't treat my body as kindly as I should. So there's a hard truth in that kind of stuff for me, at least
Mushrooms are great.
personally. But by and large, yeah, the more spiritually advanced you become, the less downtime you need, because you're
Yeah.
essentially synthesizing the divine energies.
Okay. Thank you,
yeah.
brother. Because, it's just the realignment from that just made me like, I thought it was anxiety at first because it was like I got into a fight. I don't know what's going to, but I don't have that nervousness. Like, I don't know what's going to happen next. Like, I feel in control. I feel dominant,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, definitely. You know, and I've always had the goal of, instead of going to sleep at night, to actually just go into astral at night and go and do stuff. But
I haven't even done that. That's another thing too. COIL. No, I swear to God, this is another thing too. When there was a lot of hoovering, when I was like missing her, thinking about it, like, because we are energetically connected. There is some kind of, there's something there.
You're karmically tied, dude. I get it.
We're absolutely karmically tied. Like, and we're from the same soul tribe. There's something there. But when I did that cord cutting spell, even after that, there was a couple instances where we were walking together, like, on the other side. And she said, like, and she was like, I don't have that ability. I was like, bullshit, you're a fucking telepath. Yes, the fuck, like you're open to it.
Yeah, she probably just doesn't recall.
No, she doesn't recall. Yeah, that's what it is. But like, even that stopped, dude. That's not a thing. I'm not having the dreams. I'm not having the walks. I'm not having the uninvited guests. Like, all of that.
Yeah, keep your field clear, bro.
I am, bro. I am.
You don't need that shit in your life.
No, I don't. And honest to God, that person has got to figure out themselves. I'll see you on the other side, honey. Thank you for teaching me the lessons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to figure your shit out.
Yeah, totally.
And get away from that demon.
Like, we'll catch up after you've dropped the body.
Yeah, bro. So many times. The Delaware's right there, bro.
Shit. All right, back to Deborah. She says, your mom didn't give herself time to get back to her inner authentic self, COIL. It's important for narc survivors to recover and return inward before they go outward. Energy restoration and preservation. Now, I agree. I actually believe that most mental illness is an imbalance in the third eye. And a lot of people don't realize this, but like your chakras have like rear aspects as well. So you'll have like the third eye coming forward, and then the inverse of the third eye going backwards. And then they meet in the middle in the vertical power current and, digest the energy that its frequency resonates with. But people in mental illness, their third eye chakra is all fucked up. And I would talk to her, because one of the things I was better at than most people was like listening to my mom try to work out how she perceives life, because everybody else just wanted to give her a pill and tell her to shut up. But the nature of the experiences that I've had, plus there's a little bit of like honor thy mother and that kind of stuff, gave me more empathy towards her most of the time. There were a couple of times in my life where I had to like step away from her because it was just too chaotic and I didn't need it overriding my energy or influencing my stuff. That was also a little bit of a source of guilt for me, because the last conversation we had the night she died didn't go well. My brother called me and told me that nobody knows where she is and that she's not answering her phone. But because of the push and pull in our relationship, I just knew if I called her, she would speak with me, which she did. But like I said, she was in a disassociative state. So when she got that way, her voice would change, her thought patterns would be erratic. She would jump from topic to topic in an almost free associative manner, so that I'd have to like really focus her to try to get an idea through to her. So I talked to her and I was like, "What's going on? Where are you? Nobody can find you." And she goes, "Oh, I'm just out on a walk." And I'm like, "Okay, where are you walking to?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'll know when I get there." And I said, "Are you in the city? Are you outside?" And she goes, "I'm in the woods." And I was like, "Okay, listen, mother." And I would actually call her mother when I was trying to, you know, parent her, I
Uh-huh.
guess. I said, "Okay, listen, mother, it's very important that wherever you're walking to, you need to do it tomorrow. I want you to find a place and go rest. You know, check into a hotel, or you don't have to go home, but just don't walk around in the fucking woods at night, you know?" And she's like, "There's some place that I need to go and some place I need to be." And I said, "I understand that, mother, but please, as a favor to me, you know," and I hate to do this, but like I use the "do you love me? Do you trust me?" kind of thing. And she's like, "Yes, I love you. Yes, I trust you." And I said, "Okay, I need you to find a place wherever you're going. You can get there tomorrow. We can talk on the phone while you go there. I don't care." You know, and the last thing she said to me, she said, "You're not listening to me. Goodbye." And that's the last thing my mother ever said to me. So
Wow.
I had a little bit of guilt associated with that, but you know, when she's saying there's some place I have to be, um, her body and her mind didn't know it, but it was time for her to die, and her spirit was ready to go.
Wow.
So yeah, dude. I had a lot of mixed feelings about that for a long time. A lot of tears and some self medication was involved in
Yeah.
all that. But
Mm.
you know, I'm in a better place about it now. Plus, there's that sense like as a child, you think you just take for granted that your parents are there, but
Hmm.
you know, my mother's dead and my father has Alzheimer's, so I'm basically like I'm the older brother, Karen.
Right.
uh, but
Right.
I appreciate the kind words, Deborah. You're really you're really a good person. I enjoyed chatting with you. Um, RR says living Akashic records. Yep. That's
Uh,
Stephen dipping his wick.
She was fun to sleep with, buddy. I love pegging women. Oh,
Yeah. Um, Wook saying Aaliyah was so goddamn hot. Yeah, she was pretty cute.
yes. Oh
Yeah.
God. I would have tongue punched her fart box in a heartbeat. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, let's
oh,
see.
Leah.
Tina's in the house. Good evening, friends. What is
She was
up?
hours ago.
Yeah. Yeah, she might not still be around, but if you are, what's up? You know, and I'm kind of playing with formats because the chat tends to go in like 20 different directions, and there were certain things that I wanted to communicate with you guys tonight about first experiences, because hearing about how other people began and started to open it up um, will help you guys do the same if you're interested in metaphysics and things like that. If not, and you're just trying to be a good person, cool. Or if you're just here to, you know, be entertained. Are you not entertained? Yeah. What's your Chinese zodiac? I was born in the year of the cock. It's
You're a
appropriate.
cock.
I
Are you a
am.
cock?
That come to snuff the rooster, but you know he ain't gonna die.
I'm a snake, of course. I'm a serpent.
A serpent. You're a
I'm a
reptile.
serpent.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes
Absolutely.
sense. That makes sense.
Yes,
Son of Inky.
yes,
Um,
yes, sir.
I'll tell you something. So Anu had multiple consorts, and Enki and Enlil
Mm,
were half brothers. And
hmm.
Enki was more human, and Enlil was
Draconic.
mostly lizard. Yeah,
Yeah,
draconian.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, and it's interesting that in the Bible, um, Enlil tries to turn it around on Enki and call him the snake,
Hmm.
and associate the caduceus with DNA, and there's like things that humans need to know and things that humans don't need to know, and you can't eat from the tree of knowledge, but you can eat from the tree of life. Anything
Uh,
else is fine. But that fall of man is really allegorical, because the thing that Enki did was he incorporated his own genetics into the Terran human prototype. So we have royal genes, each and every last one of us.
Mm-hmm.
Every
Yeah.
last one of us. And then, you know,
Don't forget Marduk the Gold Dragon.
there you go. There you go. There's a lot of serpent mythology. There's a lot of like kicking the dragons out of, you know, wherever. There's a lot of dragon worship. There's that feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's the imagery and the symbolism is there. You just have to be able to interpret the signs.
And what the funny interesting fact, the creation myth surrounding that lore comes from is centered around the battle between the gold dragon Marduk and the seven-headed dragon Tiamat, the great mother. So, yeah,
That's right.
Whom is also in Revelations.
Yeah.
Revelations is a great conglomerate book of all the ancient tales, including the oldest known god and goddess ever to be recorded, Gog and Magog.
Yes.
But the way that they put it in Revelations is Gog Magog, but that is actually two separate deities, like literally I guess you would call them caveman gods, you know.
Man, so you've been chewing on mushrooms. What do you think Daniel was on?
Bro.
Yeah,
It was a different strain, dude. It was a different strain.
it was something.
Yeah,
So Deborah answers her own question. She says that she's a fire snake. Okay.
Are you? Oh God,
Um,
that's hot. A bra, yeah. Take your bra off, honey. Give me a hug.
Yep.
I'm an earth element. Let's make some
there you go.
scorched earth.
Some scorched ass. What comes back saying I keep getting more followers on Twitter tonight?
Because you're a troll, Papa.
Yeah. Hell,
People
hell
love a
to Papa
troll.
Cotton. Yeah. Let's see here. Says he's gotten 43 followers today.
Balls generates attention, sir. So you keep swinging them around. You're a fatty. This is live up to your goddamn reputation.
Yeah. Deborah says, my mom doesn't like me cursing, though, on my videos. So I compromised and said, okay, I'll say fudge instead of fuck, I guess.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
honor thy mother as long as you have her there,
Mhm.
because she won't always be there. But at the same time, that's why I have the savage spirituality, because I don't have to swear every other word, but there needs to be a visceral kind of communication to ground the spirituality. Because if you're just like all, oh, everything's holy, oh, it's you lose something in the translation there.
Yeah.
You know, plus
Yeah.
a guy like me needs to be able to communicate these ideas to contemporary people in vernacular that they understand. Because if I just sit here and use college words all night and don't say fuck every now and then, it also sounds hoity-toity. Plus,
That's why
yeah. Go ahead.
it's why he comes to Dragonstorm to do that. That's where he
Yeah.
says fuck every other word.
Yeah, there you go. Especially if I have an adult beverage. But
I'm gonna put tomorrow's title. I'll put the Sage and the fucking Savage.
there you go, buddy. I'm behind that 100% spiritual reach around.
Yeah. Tapping the tape of cluster bees.
That's right. Jillian Trapping, thank you for your answer. Heart emoji. I have a teenage art student in my class creating art on the theme of the fourth dimension. He's been looking at the virtual world. I'm inspired.
Beautiful.
If he is seeing 4D and is able to render it artistically, keep some of that and encourage him to do so. I used to draw pictures of auras for people, and you know, it's weird because when people find out I see auras, they go, "What color's my aura?" And then I have to be like, "What layer of aura am I looking at?" Because different layers have different characteristics. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, for instance, the level closest to your skin has like a blue mesh outline to my eyes, like a blue-gray mesh eye line.
Really?
But then, yeah, your emotional body, which is around the 6th level of density, is nothing but color, like different colors. And they change and they shoot out of you and they, you know, glob and do all different kinds of things. But basically every other layer of the aura after the first one is a lattice for the physical body, because your aura is not, your soul's not inside you. Your soul is surrounding your living tissue.
Mhm.
And each layer that serves as a lattice is a place where it's like a blueprint for cells to grow on. Your DNA commands it to shoot out and fill out the energy, right? But then every other aura layer after that is pure energy, pure light. Your highest level of aura is the seventh level, and it's like a golden egg. So really, when people say what color am I, they're usually asking me to read their emotional field. And even though they're not asking in those um, exact words, I understand that that's what they mean, because they don't see it the same way. So your emotions have different colors associated with them. If you're like angry, it's very red. If you're horny, it's very orange. If you're stuck in your head, it's
Yep.
very yellow, right? If you're lovey, it's very green or very pink.
It is,
Right.
that is so cool. Yeah, you know what? And just a side note, when you cast those particular energies, like those spells, those are the colors. That is kind of like what I imagine. That is what I project. Now I can't see auras other than the clear. It looks like a dense clear to me, the physical aura.
Uh-huh.
But that's all I can. That's all I've really ever been able to see. But it's crazy that you mentioned that, and
Yeah.
you know, that's what I've heard. But that is kind of how I project energies when I am also influencing others using my aura.
Yeah. Well, I sent you a picture of this a month or so ago about how energy fields interact whenever you're
Yeah,
in different situations, and especially when you're defensive or being like attacked physically or verbally, your auras have that interaction. And especially like, like when your heart's broken, that's literally true, because as you
yeah.
grow to love somebody, you grow cords in between your chakras. And then
Mm-hmm.
when that's suddenly severed, yeah, it hurts. You have to draw your
Mm-hmm.
energy back in. You have to heal from that. You have to get used to not having that person's energy around in the same capacity that it was.
And if you long for them, it's like tendrils. And,
Oh yeah.
it's you're constantly
yeah.
trying to this tendril field. And if a person can manipulate those fields, then they can
Uh-huh.
draw them in. That's what narcissists, like
Uh-huh.
narcissists kind of unconsciously do. They pull
That's
on
right.
them and then let them snap back. Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
right. Very interesting stuff. You see what I mean? Like talking to the chat, like the stream goes all over the place, and I love it. I love it. It's kind of, if this is Art Bell, this is like the call-in portion of the of the
Absolutely.
program.
I
Yeah.
have a spiritual erection right now.
Full mast. Deborah, once again, she says, my relatives visit me in my dreams, like they're angels telling me bye when they pass away.
Oh, that's so wow.
Yeah, that happens. Especially if you're not psychic or you're not practicing or you're shut off. A lot of times the only ways that they can come to us is through dreams.
Yeah.
But sometimes they like to, they like to leave you presents. You'll find like his pipe if he's your grandfather or something, or you'll find earrings, and it's usually just when you're thinking about them. But I have an interesting story about this. It wasn't in a dream state, but when my maternal grandfather passed away, I was able to speak to him on the phone a couple of days before it happened. And then after it happened, he came to me in spirit form. And the impressions that I was getting, like, it was all telepathic. So you get like thought bombs that your brain has to
Right.
unravel and translate into
Right.
English and kind of stuff like that. On his deathbed, I was trying to tell him about how appreciative I was for all that he had passed on knowledge-wise, and he was being humble. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know how much knowledge I actually taught you." And I'm like, "You'd be surprised." And in my head, I'm thinking, if only what not to do. But it's still good to be appreciative towards that, and especially as somebody's body is shutting down and they're transitioning. This man was scared. I think he thought he was going to go to hell or something. And you can certainly go to hell if you want to create that as a sub realm, but there's no place where you're poked in a butt by little red guys with pitchforks. You know, that's just something to scare you, so you'll fall in line. But he
Yeah,
came to me.
yeah.
Yeah, he wrapped this love around me and gave me like a hug. And he was there, and it lasted a good like 30, 45 seconds. And then I felt him, you know, kind of pull away and continue on with whatever the fuck he was doing. But I was grateful to be in a state of awareness where I could actually feel that and perceive it. Because otherwise, you know, they have to come to you in dreams or, you know, poke around at the reality around you. Because most of us are just kind of shut down. That's interesting. I'd like to hear more about that sometime, Deborah. Deborah says cats are freaked out by you, Steven.
Yeah, pussy doesn't like me. We brought some pussy into the house. Okay, what I love is that my grandson's mother, when she comes over, she brings Princess, the pit bull, and I love Princess. Princess is a dog. Princess pays attention to me, lets me pet her. She loves my attention. I love her attention, and we because I have a cockatoo and I have a cat. All right, and it's the strange dynamic in my house. The pussy loves my son, and the cock loves my son, but they don't like me at all. They don't like me at all. When my son goes upstairs, the cock screams, freaks out. Yeah, they love my son. Has that animal empathy. He has that connection with animals.
Sure.
And I'm not sure. Like I said, my spirit animals are upset with me, or there is something energetically off about me, and it probably has to do with the last few years and everything I went through, where animals who are attuned to that realm are like they don't know how to take me. They don't like. Then they just don't.
Oh, sure.
So yes, cats are freaked out by me, and I just want to mention that the fucking bird, this cockatoo, bullies the cat. My cock bullies my pussy, and I don't. And it's a shame, you know. He gets down off the cage. This fucking bird gets down off the cage onto the floor and follows his cat around to snap at it. And I'm like, what is going on here? Because Deborah, I was really hoping the cat would eat the cock. I was really hoping that would happen. Because that bird annoys the shit out of me, and it didn't happen. It's that's a big cock, a big, loud, angry bully cock, and I don't like him at all. And there's nothing phallically threatening about it at all. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, cats in particular can see energy and they can see spirits. You know, if you ever see your cat just walking and then like it freaks out and runs away, it just saw a spirit. But cats are also very astral. You notice they sleep a lot and they're dream walking. Cats can do that.
So cats are lunar, dogs are solar. And that's why, right. And that's why that's why dogs are now their powers are in the sense of the 3D. They can sense danger. You know what I mean? Now, dogs can see entities. You know, like I used to have a Queensland Blue Heeler who would literally understood the track of a ghost who would go through the house I grew up in.
Yeah.
From the basement to the main floor to the attic and back down through. And literally had it timed to where the dog would run into a certain room, crouch down, look under a bed, just wait a few seconds and then start barking like crazy. Because that's when the entity was passing through the floors. So
it's
they
interesting.
can see it.
It's interesting that entity was obsessed to do it at a particular time.
That's during my summoning period. That's when we had a lot of weird. That's when my sister and I were walking up the hill up to my house on Thatcher. And the two of us are walking and we're talking, and because we were practicing together at the time, along with a few other people. And I kid you not, guys, there were two red dots in the attic. Look, because there's an attic window looking down out at us on the street.
Yep.
And it was like, and that's the attic is where we practiced. That's where I had my magic mirror, my Ouija board, my blanket with my ceremonial blanket and all that stuff. So at that time, it drew in a lot of spirit energy. It drew in a lot of dark force energy. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
Dude, no, dark force, COIL, dark force energy like me and my buddy Cyprin, right? I'm Lodanis Kirai, he was Cyprin Kiran. And we're meditating. and all the lights are off. We have one candle. We're in a ceremonial blanket, and then I hear Cypern go, Steve, and I open my eyes. The temperature in the room dropped because the dark forces that we had summoned were sucking the heat out of the atmosphere, out of
Yes,
the
they
room.
were.
Yeah, bro. So I mean, like I said, one of the things that attached itself to me that Jory Lynn helped to remove the psychic medium I was talking to in the fall came from that era. It came from that time. You know, I talked in my one stream about augmenting your spiritual matrix. You can augment your spiritual matrix with shades, different entities, and these can be guardian spirits. Like you do have a guardian spirit. It's like, okay, imagine you're a character in a D&D build, all right, and you have like different gear slots. You can put there, in your gear slots, you have your guardian angels or your guardian spirits, whatever, your ancestor. You have these things, but you also have other slots that you can fill. And if you're not, this is why some people become possessed. This is why some people take a sharp turn when they don't deal with trauma. This is why narcissists are narcissists. Another reason why toxic people become this toxic is because when you energetically bring yourself to such a low vibration, when your core, your inner child, so to speak, is so broken or is dysfunctional, then you allow yourself the ability to be possessed, for these things to become attached to you. And they're like demons. They're like it's an imp sitting on your shoulder, eating popcorn, poking at you, making you crazy, poking in your brain. And that's that. I had one of those, and I was told that when I energetically met up with my karmic, over the last several years, that what she had enticed what I had. They would entice each other. And so that's one of the reasons why I was stuck in that cycle. And it wasn't until I had an experienced medium remove that from me in a gentle manner too. It was all done. It was a meditative space. Moving into another galaxy. There's have Michael and Raphael energy helping me out there, and removed it and just took it someplace else, because it wasn't necessarily that it was evil. But it was such a low vibrational frequency. It had been summoned from a plane of such low vibrational frequency that it would become aggravated and attached. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's another thing is when dark entities are dragged here from other dimensions, they become disoriented too.
Yes, exactly.
A disoriented dark entity is a dangerous one. So, good job, the healer.
Absolutely, man. Jory's incredible. Jory Lynn is incredible.
Yeah. Look says, be careful, COIL. When I got close to 600 subs, I've gotten nuked. Yeah, I'm gonna have some protection spells around the sub count.
Damn right.
But it's also like you have to be careful about how you present content, and that's part of why I read the disclaimer at the beginning of every stream, so that even if like say for instance, I have a Metallica song that plays in the intro. Now I could just go and like get some generic music or get some write my own song or something. But I like the way James Hetfield says immortal. It's part of the name,
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing that should not be, there's many things that should not be. And there have been one or two times where they tried to copyright strike me, but then I just used that fair use thing. I said, this is fair use for artistic interpretation, and this is entertainment. We're here giving life advice and all that kind of stuff, but we're presenting this for a positive reason, and Wook's a famous troll. He goes on and he antagonizes people on purpose, and most of the time those people deserve it. But you'll see a lot of times like they have their own, what did Stephen call them, flying monkeys, and they'll go and like mass flag your shit and get you killed just because you said something that they didn't like when they were sideways.
COIL, I have to
go ahead.
Go to bed soon. It's a star tomorrow.
Okay.
And I have a star at dinner.
It's good. Just making sure that there's not
today.
Something super pressing in the chat here. Okay. Well, yeah, Steven's right. It's been like 3 hours. It's probably going to be pretty early out there. If you guys enjoy this content, definitely give a thumbs up, drop a comment, share the stream out, and then remember, I'll be on Steven's channel tomorrow evening. So
Tonight.
or,
Well,
yeah,
technically.
later tonight, I guess. It's still, yeah.
The
that's a
Sage
trip.
and the Savage. I have no idea what we're going to talk about yet, but we're probably just
The
going to continue this
fucking Savage.
conversation.
Yeah, you know, you can put me in a room with Steven and we could talk all night. So, again, I'd like to thank you guys for coming by. Steven, where can they find you?
You can find me on Lodonis Ravenwolf Dragonstorm. Come hang out. I have not put out too many videos as of late, but I have been talking about beating up narcs and my own trauma. I've been crying, so if you want to come and cry with me, please come check that out. No, I went through a great life experience that was violent yet freeing, and I'm going to be continuing videos this week. Things are probably going to slow down a little bit more aside from the live streams because I'm beginning a new business endeavor. But yeah, I'm going to try and no more car videos. I'm going to be doing, I have a studio now. So I was going to finish building my, I was telling to Scott, I was like, make some fucking videos, man. He was like, I don't have time. I said, dude, I was making car videos. I got to 7,000 subs with car videos. Like, you can do it. No, but yeah, you guys deserve better. My channel members, my channel subscribers, you guys deserve better quality content. So I'm going to keep bringing my flair, you know, being jokey and talking down about Satan's ball-haired narcissist. But other than that, yeah, you can find me there. And occasionally I am going to be streaming over at author Stephen Walton, talking about entertainments, kind of like getting the gear back up for that as the book gets closer and closer to being done. So, you know, I want to launch the book on the channel that, you know, that inspired the creation of it, you know?
Yeah. Well, once again, I want to say hail to the chat. I appreciate everybody who's come through, who's asked questions. I'm sorry I didn't get to all of them. And then the people who stuck with us throughout the night. I know it's a late hour.
God's bless you.
Yeah, and it really means the world to me. Again, we can't do this without any of you. So once again, I'd like to offer the Savage salute. Here's to us. What's like us, not a goddamn thing. And
I would like to say, wash your hands, wash your ass, be good to each other, and suffer no fools.
There we go. Good night, guys.